or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bo Bites. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's Bo time.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel Rewards.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors, Wake Orthopedics and First Carolina Bank. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-791-0000. That's 800-791-0000.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's a toasty afternoon out there with a high of 90, but our humidity does remain low. We'll see partly cloudy skies, and that will continue tonight with an overnight low of 68. Tomorrow's high 89, but it will be a bit more sticky. And then Sunday, expect afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 313 points today to 52,522.
Deep left corner of the end zone! Jalen Coker hauls it in for a touchdown!
Off the back iron, Wilson comes soaring in to dunk it home.
Copeland jabs on him a couple of times. Step back three-pointer, left corner, swish.
One dribble out for Boozer for three. Big time!
And the Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it. Thank you for starting your weekend with us here on The Drive. I'm Tim Donnelly, Max Gorin along for the ride again, pulling the doubleheader for us, producing both the Adam Gold Show and this one, so if you're like, if you could be near the side of the marathon with a little glass of water for him that you can snag on the way by, it'd be fantastic. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's start the show the same way we always do. And that's with the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
First of all, the Big 3 at 3, presented by Mainer Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work, whatever you need done, have Mainer Services do it. Mainer Service Company do it, but their website is Mainer Services. MAYNOR Services.com. Number one is the next step. I don't know if it's like the steps of grieving or the steps of any of the next step in the Chris Brazzell injury for the Panthers is, what do you do now at wide receiver? Right, the day one was dealing with the injury. Day two was dealing with the I'm talking about since the injury, right? Day one, injury took place. Thought it was going to be 8 weeks. Day two, the realization that with a second opinion, it was going to be a season-ending injury and surgery. Day three, what's next? What do they need to do at wide receiver? This is a little bit different, perhaps, than a Nick Scorton situation, because, quite frankly, wide receiver is different than edge rusher. You need more of them, and also they're more varied in their skill sets. I think the obvious number one that most people are going to ask for is already on your roster, right? Just look for the players that you've already deemed worthy of your roster. Find Xavier Legette, find John Mechie, find whoever, and give them a chance to play a bigger role, see if they're ready for it. I think that's what they're going to do first. The thing with wide receivers is there are these veterans that are hanging out there in free agency that are also a possibility, and they do kind of seem like the easy option, right? You got to pay a little bit. You're going to have to restructure some contracts, but you can walk away with a guy that has a boatload of career statistics. Matter of fact, you could say that's exactly what the San Francisco 49ers did. Ricky Pearsall showed up, his knee swelled up, and now they're worried about him being able to play this year. It took him about 24 hours to re-sign Deebo Samuel. Panthers could look to do that. Not obviously with Deebo, but with another player who's 30 or 30-something years old that can step in and be really, really good for you for a year. I don't think they should. I think you have to stay true to your window. I think you have to understand, if you're the Panthers, that you're not like the Niners, in that the Niners see a window closing. Christian McCaffrey's pretty old. George Kittle's pretty old. Right? I see it closing. Mike Evans, pretty old. They're closing. With the Panthers, hope you get lucky. Right? Hope somebody steps up in a big way. Hope you have a diamond in the rough to play there. I'll explain more about that later. We're going to talk about the Panthers' decisions at wide receiver at about 3:15. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
The North Carolina Tar Heels opened their training camp for football practice yesterday, had their first practice. Now, there is, let me get my grammar correct on a Friday, there is a black cloud, or at least a dark gray cloud, hanging around Carolina football because of the paid administrative leave to their general manager, Michael Lombardi. For a little bit of insight into how they're feeling about it, how about we go to Chancellor Lee Roberts' comments on being disappointed that they even have to talk about the Lombardi situation.
I'm disappointed that we're talking about this. We should be focusing on our student athletes and on their success on the field, and on all of the wonderful things that happen at this university every day, providing opportunities for students from every nook and cranny of North Carolina. And so it's distressing to me and everyone else in the administration entrusted with leadership at this remarkable university that this is something that we have to spend time on.
Yeah, but you do. Like it's not a choice by the media or the choice by the fans to discuss it. It is what happens when something like that happens. With that being said, I'll appease Chancellor Lee Roberts here and talk some football after the first day of practice. Huh? Let's talk about what the athletes are doing. Multiple reports, Inside Carolina, Tar Heel Tribune, a few others, are reporting that I'm actually surprised by who took the first snaps with the first team at quarterback. I was under the assumption it would be Billy Edwards Jr., the most veteran of the bunch, because usually coaches default to who's the most veteran when they're making those types of decisions. But oh no, it was Miles O'Neill. The transfer from Texas A&M, who ends up getting the first team reps of the entire training camp. Now, does that mean he's going to have the last first team reps? No. But because the way that Carolina treated their quarterback competition all offseason and routinely and 100% said it's completely wide open, everyone has a chance. Not only is there not a leader in the clubhouse, they're all still out there playing probably on the front nine, right? They were so obvious with it. This is the first time we have a hierarchy. Miles O'Neill went out there first. Billy Edwards Jr. went out there second and appears healthy, a player that has battled injuries a whole bunch in his career. The two young guys, less obvious on kind of what order they went out there, although Arturi Newkirk, the returner, Bobby Petrino did say he needs to be a little bit more consistently accurate delivering the football. Travis Burgess, who's their super high, highly ranked number 9 overall quarterback in the incoming freshman class, is impressing, but he's kind of the things that he was credited with impressing the coaching staff on aren't things that you would be pointing out that a potential starting quarterback could do, right? He's impressing them by like how quickly he's picking up the mechanics, calling the plays in the huddle, getting everybody lined up, knowing where the reads are, which is impressive, right? Like first training camp, first year, like that's very good for a young player. But also, if you're trying to build someone up as a starting quarterback, I'm not sure you're going like, yeah, he's getting good at calling the plays. Because you'd have to be steps beyond that. So the way I look at it, right, and this is a little bit of reading the reporting that I just presented to you and a little bit of inferring based on what I know about quarterback competitions, even if they say it's completely even, I believe Miles O'Neill is in the front, and that's Bobby Petrino impact, right? He recruited him to Texas A&M a few years ago. Then Billy Edwards. Then I would assume it's Newkirk. Then Burgess, but Newkirk, I believe, is ahead of Burgess in a way like he's ahead of him when they're practicing, but if the first two ever got hurt, I believe they'd go to Burgess. They do the old skipperoo, which you see teams do every now and then. So that's a little bit of concrete, actual information about the football team that we received on day one of UNC's practices. Unless they give us more concrete information to work off of, we'll go back to talking about Michael Lombardi next time. That is number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
What was it, 2 days ago? We said every single team in the NFL had reported to training camp. Maybe
28th, I think. So
maybe 3 days,
3 days ago.
Which means everybody's practicing now, right? When you report, if rookies report, veterans report, you usually practice the next day. Everybody's practicing, except for those that are unhappy with their contracts. Or they might be participating in individual drills, but not 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 drills. There's holding in is a relatively new phenomenon, but it's kind of funny. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs holding in, right? They're at practice. They're a part of the vibe. They're joking around, but they're not practicing because they want new money. Baker Mayfield is practicing and telling everybody he feels disrespected by the contract offers that the team that he's practicing for offered him this offseason. The Saints had to deal with Chris Olave participating in individual drills but not team drills, and they didn't want to deal with it anymore, so they made him one of the top 10 highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. Falcons, their quarterbacks are practicing a little bit, but not team drills, not because they're holding out, but because they're not healthy enough to perform in team drills. So basically what I'm getting at is for a multitude of reasons, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of balls juggling in the air. And you have to, as a GM, this is where like your social element becomes as important as your X's and O's, right? You can't be a GM that is just good at watching film in a dark room and reading spreadsheets of analytics. You also have to know when to dig your heels in and when you're going to have to pony up to pay a good player. You're going to have to know what players can take a little disrespect and be motivated and which players are going to take a little disrespect and hold a grudge against you forever and ever. Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to be playing for their teams week 1. How comfortable are you letting them hold in for how long? And there's probably a bit of game of chicken there. Whichever one signs first, the other one's probably going to sign for $100,000 more a year. So from a team's perspective, getting it done first might help you in the market. And for Baker Mayfield, I look at it like this. Baker is, I actually think, a player that plays better when he's disrespected. I think when everybody supports that guy, he gets a little soft. Obviously, it's more complicated than that, but he's a two-time walk-on in college. That's crazy. Walked on at Texas Tech, became the starter. They didn't want to put him on scholarship, so he walked on at Oklahoma and became the number 1 overall pick. So, yeah, I think he'll be all right if he feels a little disrespected by the team. He's one I wouldn't worry about. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3, presented by Maynard Service Company. Heating systems, cooling systems, plumbing work, electrical work. They do it all. Maynard Service Company. Check them out online at MaynorServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. When we come back, I promised we're going to dive more into what the Panthers should do at wide receiver, if anything. Next.
If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may be able to even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much you can get right now. Call 919-381-1760. That's 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The wait is over.
Football is back in North Carolina. Kick off the 2026 high school football season with High School OT and 99.9 The Fan at the High School OT Jamboree at Trentini Stadium at Wake Forest High School. See 8 of North Carolina's football programs take the field in one incredible evening featuring Warren County, Wilson Prep, Franklinton, South Johnston, Wake Forest, Cardinal Gibbons, Garner, and Northern Nash. Whether you're cheering for your hometown team, scouting future college stars, or simply love Friday night football, this is the place to be. Gates open at 5 p.m. Matchups kick off at 6. Bring the family, enjoy great football, and celebrate the start of another unforgettable high school football season.
Get your tickets today at highschoolot.com.
The 2026 High School OT Jamboree, Saturday, August 14th, presented by High School OT and brought to you by Talk It Out NC, Wake Orthopedics, and the U.S. Army. Don't miss the kickoff to football season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I think it's settled in for most of us by now. Chris Brazel's not playing this year. It was nice while it lasted. You had about a week of him being in and out of the lineup where you could imagine having the 6'4", 6'5", fast guy on the outside. Just, it's not going to happen. Not this year. Again, I think it's for the most part settled in. But the fantasy football brains of ours, I think really want to just go like, all right, hit the waivers. Right, just click, drop, click, add. Here we go. We got a new wide receiver. Projected points. That's what I sorted by. But that's not how it works. At least that's not how it should work for the Panthers. There are still levels between where the Panthers are and where the true contenders are. That's not to say they won't improve. That's not to say they can't do a lot that excites you this year. It's not to say individuals can't get better. But even with Nick Scorton, Chris Brazel, Mitchell Evans, if everybody's healthy, I still don't look at this team and think you're a threat to win the NFC. Make the playoffs, wildly successful season. Make the playoffs, take a few steps forward in your development, wildly successful season. But I still don't think, and I think it's important to recognize where you are. You have to have the awareness to do so. I still don't think the Panthers are in the business of 30-something-year-old free agents to fill needs. They're not in Band-Aid mode. I talked about what the Niners did with Deebo Samuel. They are in Band-Aid mode. They are in let's just get it to the finish line mode. Stephon Diggs, right? Some of these veteran wide receivers, these free agent wide receivers that are still out there that I'm seeing some Panther fans clamoring for, I want nothing to do with them. Because unless they are the piece that makes you win the championship or make it to the Super Bowl, unless they are the piece that gets you over that hump, you're hiding, right? Because they're not going to be around the year after or the year after. And when they're declining, you're going to have to replace them again. I would much rather take lotto tickets, throw them into that role, take high ceiling, very, very low risk players, give them a chance for it, and you might find one. There's an article on ESPN.com right now that I read this morning, and it was the best training camp finds for all 32 teams in history. And it's every single kind of out of nowhere moment, right? It's Victor Cruz. We've all seen the mic'd up when Rex Ryan, right, was mic'd up on the other sideline going, who in the heck is number 3? That guy. And then Victor Cruz became Victor Cruz. But it's Marcus Colston being discovered by the Saints. It's all of these guys that went in. Not only were they like off the radar, they didn't even have a sensor on the radar, and they became eventual stars. I'd be searching for that before I go veteran, before I go free agent ad, before I work out Chase Claypool, before I go to any of the names that we know. Now, I will say this. Deals are always welcome, right? Like steals, great trades, finding players of value, that's always welcome. But I think what my rule of thumb would be, if I were Dan Morgan, and I'm not, but if I were, if I wouldn't do the deal or sign the player if Chris Brazzell was healthy, I'm not going to make the deal or sign the player now that he's not. Okay? Because like there are some, I don't know, more interesting players out there like a Kayshon Boutte or something who may be a young, aspiring, growing part of the NFL, but might be getting kind of nudged out in their teams. And if you can trade for that player, giving up very, very little assets, I think you might do that even if you had Chris Brazzell. I think that is where you could potentially, quote unquote, replace him. But I'm not doing it with any of these guys that are just going to show up as mercenaries. Same thing with the Nick Scorton injury. I don't want Von Miller. I don't want Jadeveon Clowney. I don't want any of these players that are going to be here for 1 year. The Panthers are still, and this is the self-awareness. This is where you need a cold glass of water to the face occasionally. They're still 2+ years, 3 years away from realistically having the type of goals that I think they're – and by the way, 2 or 3 years of things going well and moving forward.
To actually contend.
And get to the point where, I'll give you a lot of money for 1 year and understand that a young person that is going to be a part of our future will not be getting those reps because we're going for something right now.
Yeah, and even like they specifically, like they already did the Jadeveon Clowney thing with Jadeveon Clowney already. Like that would just kind of be, I don't want to say pointless, but like they have to fill that position somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's so hard in the wake of losing such a talented young player like Nick Scorton and Chris Brazzell like this early on. At least it gives you a little bit of time to like maneuver and see what you've got in terms of training camp where you're looking for it. Whereas like if they'd gotten injured, week 3 of the preseason or something, right? And it's not as fresh on the mind as to like who was standing out in training camp or what can we do or week 1 is, a week and a half away and we don't have anybody to kind of, fill out this position. At least they have a little bit of time to now figure out how they can do whatever they want to do, whether it's going out on the market or finding someone from within that they can promote up. But in terms of wide receiver, like there's got to be somebody that's currently there. Like whether the hype around Xavier Legette at camp so far this year is warranted or whether you didn't acquire John Mechie for no reason, like maybe you see what he can do, or Jimmy Horn, or there's a number of guys that are down the depth chart that you could bump up. Are they going to be those unknown players that become stars like you just mentioned? Like, probably not. We're talking about a third-string wide receiver role here, but at least they have now some time to figure it out because it's not even August yet, and they know that they have to do something.
Jimmy Horn Jr. is a great name to mention there, right? It's time to
got the final target of the season last year.
It's time to find out if he is a part of the future or not. And there are players like the true Aeneas Smith or Jasim Reed. Some of these players that I'd say most fans don't even know, but like let them try to impress you. If it doesn't work out, it's no skin off your back. You gave up nothing to bring those players into the season, and unless someone is demanding of targets, you're going to give the lion's share of every kind of attention you possibly can to Tetero McMillan and Jalen Coker anyway out of the wide receiver room, and also your other skill positions. Tommy Tremble is going to be targeted a bunch. The guys out of the backfield are going to be targeted a bunch. If they don't seize your attention and say, I need to have a bigger role, say, okay, we'll roll with the guys that we know. But those reps should be the reps that were vacated by Chris Brazzell should be working to confirm, or actually to confirm in either direction, to confirm that somebody is a part of your future or confirm that they are not, so you're aware next offseason what positions you have to address. It's not the time to panic. You panic when you win now, when you think you're one of the 6 teams that can win a Super Bowl and you have an injury at a key position. That's when you panic and you call agents and you say, what kind of shape is this Pro Bowler from 4 years in? That's when you panic. There's no reason to panic for the Panthers. It's really more reason to be disappointed than to panic. It's to be like, darn, rather than, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Can I throw a name out there?
I would love it.
That's available right now. Keenan Allen?
No. I mean, I know he's a North Carolina guy and coming home would be cool, but no, because
I feel like it's a good value proposition though. Like he probably could be had for pretty cheap.
If I were a win now team, I still think Keenan Allen's very good. And the things he does well will age well, right? He's a great route runner, very, very smart player, great hands. Like that's fantastic. But let's say things go perfectly, and not this year, but next year, you have a small chance of winning the conference. And then the year after, you're all in on competition. You're all in on going for it. Is Keenan Allen going to be around for that?
No.
Does Tetero McMillan need that mentorship that he can't get from the coaches and a David Moore? I don't think so. I think he can call up Keenan Allen in the offseason if he wants to. It's about lining up your windows. And I've already said it. I don't like how old the Panthers are already. I want them to skew younger at this point in their rebuild. I'm not getting older.
I think John Mechie. Hopefully, they can reconnect him and Bryce Young and whatever chemistry they had left over from college. Although, granted, that was a while ago now. But I think that could be a good pickup to fill that role. Or truly, hopefully, Xavier Legette is as improved as some of the reports out of training camp so far are, and he can provide some of that talent, and we know he's got that athleticism.
I might give him like 2 or 3 shots at it, right? He'll give the first run. If it's not working, he's not doing what I want. All right, we're going to John Mechie. All right, we're going to Jimmy Horn. We're trying to figure out who that third wide receiver can be. All right, and then, okay, Xavier, you want another chance? Like, I would cycle through before I go to the old veteran world. Definitely not trading anything of value unless it's for somebody who would be a part of the future.
Yeah,
be a young player that would be around for a while.
You've got your wide receiver 1. He was the offensive rookie of the year last year, and everything else is kind of more complementary pieces around
and
that.
You got Jalen Coker as a locked-in wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 3 is important, don't get me wrong, but not important enough for me to panic. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break. When we come back, we highlight the college sports world in a segment we call the Dean's List.
Genie log, day 15,824. The Powerball jackpot is over $700 million now. I'll be stuck in this little lamp forever with nothing but all this stupid gold and rare gems. A gold-plated motorcycle? Sure does a lot of good when you live in a 10x10 magic lamp. Come find me. I'm at latitude 36.06.
Grant your own wishes. The Powerball jackpot is over $700 million. Must be 18 to play. Approximate jackpot odds are 1 in 293 million. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Yeah. Can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Hey, man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. You know, they got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. I want you to be in on all the jokes and stuff. And I'm like, if you're watching on YouTube, you can do that jumping on our live stream. You can also check out some of our archives and things we've talked about in the past. Comment. Just go ahead and subscribe. It's 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. And download our app, 99.9 The Fan, Google Play, and App Store while you're at it. In the meantime, every day about this time, we highlight those that deserve a little extra praise in the college sports world that we hold so near and dear. Here in the Triangle, we call it the Dean's List. We'll start with, and this is a quick one, but how about App State? I don't know if everybody follows country music and or golf, but there was an intersection there. Luke Combs, one of the biggest country music stars on the planet and App State grad, played the old course at St. Andrews recently, posted a picture of it, and he's wearing an App State hoodie while he's playing. So the Mountaineers getting some love at one of the hallowed grounds of golf and also getting the benefit of a very, very famous alumni, Luke Combs. So shout out to App State. More Dean's List. How about Georgia Tech? Talking Georgia Tech football here, ACC, let's go. Georgia Tech is currently, according to CBS Sports, expected to add former NFL star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins as a member of its offensive coaching staff. DeAndre Hopkins had been working with the Patriots for a few days in training camp as a coach. Now it looks like he's moving over to Georgia Tech, which I thought was strange because I'm like, how in the world is he going to go back to coach and he's not going to go coach at Clemson? Because he played at Clemson. He played for Dabo. And then on top of that, Taj Boyd is their quarterbacks coach. C.J. Spiller is their running backs coach. They have like star Clemson players from the last 20 years all over their coaching staff. But George Godsey, who's the offensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, was an offensive coordinator for the Texans when DeAndre was there and was on the coaching staff with the Ravens recently, which DeAndre Hopkins was there as well. So my guess is they've stayed in touch. And now they're going to have a pretty darn impressive voice to talk to the kids at Georgia Tech. At least it's still in the ACC. At least DeAndre Hopkins didn't run off to the, take all his Clemson hype and go to like the Big Ten. So he's keeping it in the ACC, so I'll allow it. Georgia Tech makes the Dean's List. Max, do you have any Dean's Listers you'd like to throw out?
Yeah, I feel like I've shouted out a lot of Wake people this week, but Cameron Young gets the Dean's List. Shout out for me. He fired a 61 at the Rocket Classic up there in Detroit. He was tied for the lead last I had checked, but I know Ricky Fowler was kind of surging up the leaderboard.
Correct.
Ricky Fowler has overtaken him, but Cam Young currently T2 after shooting that 9 under 61 today. I expect he'll be in contention for another win this weekend at the Rocket Classic.
Is there a reason you did not also shout out the 2 other local golfers with college ties to the area that are in the top 5?
I hadn't seen Ryan Gerard and Michael Brennan there, but now I do.
Michael Brennan, another Wake Forest golfer. So there's a couple Wake guys in the top 5, and Ryan Gerard, who played at Carolina and is still out there on the course. He is 1 under on the day, 8 under on the tournament through 8.
So he could be up at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the round.
He can make a move as well.
I need to put that on the TV in here. I just realized I could be watching it instead of Googling the leaderboard.
So a Tar Heel and a couple of Deeks up there in the top 5 currently of the Rocket Classic. I'll actually build off of that for some more Dean's List. How about the Wyndham Championship, which is coming this next up on the PGA Tour? It's going to be at Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro next week. They've been confirming some of the field, some of the commitments from players that are going to participate in the Wyndham Championship, kind of in our neck of the woods. Ben Griffin, former Carolina golfer, is in. Defending champ Cameron Young, who Max just shouted out, is also in the field. FedEx Cup number 18, we just talked about, Ryan Gerard, played at Carolina. He's in the field. FedEx Cup number 19, Alex Fitzpatrick. It's another Wake Forest golfer in the mix. FedEx Cup number 24, Alex Smalley, Duke, as well as past champion and FedEx Cup number 28, JT the Postman. JP Poston, Western Carolina. I always forget that he's a part of the group that went to their college here in North Carolina as well. So there can be more added, but that's just what I saw based on what they've confirmed in press releases that will be playing in the Wyndham Championship here in the state of North Carolina.
Webb Simpson, former U.S. Open champion Wake Forest golfer, will be in the field as well. It's actually a really good, like the Wyndham sometimes, and it honestly helps that it's the last regular season event because a lot of guys that need like a last-second boost in points to make it into the playoffs will play there, but it's a really good field this year. Justin Rose is playing as well. Jordan Spieth, just among some of the bigger
Justin
names.
Thomas, yep.
Justin Thomas. I remember the last time I went, it was 2 or 3 years ago. He had to get in the field because he was like 71st, or he was right outside, or he ended up finishing 71st and just missing out on the playoffs. But that brought some intrigue to it. So it's a really good field this year. I'll probably try to get out there next weekend and see a game of JJ Spawn, last year's U.S. Open champion. He's in the field too. Really good field for the Wyndham this year. So I hope they make it onto the top level tour, like whenever they bifurcate
series.
So hopefully they make it onto that. But
you're talking about the tournament. Hopefully they make it.
Yes. Yeah.
I have seen, what was it? The Arnold Palmer came out and said they've been assigned to the championship series. I imagine they're going to do it kind of tournament by tournament, but it'd be awesome if that's a championship series event. Also, we're about a month away from where the President's Cup teams will be chosen, which is why I do think that the tournaments that maybe don't always have the best fields are going to be a little souped up because guys are trying to make their final statements for why they should be on Team USA, and also perhaps some final statements to go get in that top 6, which would guarantee them a spot on Team USA. More Dean's List. How about Michael Malone, UNC basketball coach? CBS Sports put out an article with a poll that had which new college basketball coach, so which coach on a new team, will have the most successful long-term career. So this is not just this year. It's who do they think is set up for their new school, to have the most long-term positive impact. Michael Malone was the second coach named. They think he's going to be able to really get things cranking at Carolina. And I'll read just a portion of what Gary Parrish of CBS Sports wrote about Michael Malone. Nothing is ever guaranteed in college athletics, but if the program is properly funded and UNC's general manager does his job well, Malone should have one of the best rosters in the sport moving forward annually. If he doesn't, it'll largely be a GM problem, but if he does, Malone is still young enough and gifted enough to lead the Tar Heels to a place where they are routinely competing for championships. Now, there's a lot of ifs in there, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but that is a pretty strong endorsement of Michael Malone as the guy to lead the Carolina Tar Heels. And I've said this, if I've said this once, I've said it a million times. I hope he is paying attention to what's happening on the football side of campus and learning from what Bill Belichick is going through. I mean, how many times in that 1, 2, 3 sentences did Gary Parrish point out, like, the GM has to do their job? And what is the irony of looking over at the football program and seeing what they have going on with their GM right now? You can be gifted enough, or however he said it, gifted enough to lead the Tar Heels, but if you don't have the dudes, if you don't have the, you can have the X's and O's, if you don't have the Jimmies and Joes, it's going to be tough. So Michael Malone getting the Dean's List for being propped up by Gary Parrish, but they really got to take care of the GMsmanship. That's a new word. The GMsmanship as well. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Dean's List. If you have Dean's Listers that you want to throw on here that you think we missed, sometimes some of the lower division schools, we just can't keep track of everything. So if you want to highlight them, you can always let me know on Twitter at Donnelly Sports, or you can jump in our YouTube live stream, live chat in the comments and tell us in there as well. It's 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, live stream every day, always available.
Subscribe
while you're there. With that being said, here on 99.9 The Fan, The Drive will be back with we already have to change a list. We made a list about the Carolina Panthers. We already have to scrap it and start over. I'll tell you why coming up.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons from Chapel Hill Tire. There's nothing quite like a North Carolina summer, unless of course your air conditioning decides to stop working. If your AC isn't blowing cold, is making strange noises, or just isn't keeping up with the heat, now's the time to have it checked. This month, take advantage of our summer AC special, save $40, and let our ASC certified technicians make sure you're ready for the hottest days of the year. Schedule your appointment today at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions Solutions from Van Products.
Some of life's most meaningful moments are in summertime. Anniversary dinner, weekend getaway, sunset toast to another beautiful year together. Celebrate your story with a gift as timeless as your love from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. From classic diamond bracelets to elegant watches and stunning anniversary bands, Bailey's helps you mark every milestone beautifully. This summer, celebrate the moments that matter most. Visit Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Raleigh, Cary, Greenville, Rocky Mount, and Charlotte. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
This is The Drive here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Max Gorin producing. This is one of those conversations you wish you don't have to have. Right? It's I don't know, it's the equivalent of, and you know, dads out there that have had to pack for any kind of a vacation, you'll stick with me. If you have to strap something to the top of your car, you got to strap something down in the back of the truck, and you say something like, that's not going anywhere, and you tap it twice, and then you get out on the highway and you see things flapping that aren't supposed to be flapping, and you got to pull over and redo it before you even get to like the first rest stop. That's a real defeated moment, isn't it? It's a real bummer of a moment. Will humble you quick. I feel like I'm kind of doing that because just a couple of weeks ago, a handful of weeks ago, whatever it was, we asked a very simple question. Who for the Carolina Panthers is best set up to take a big leap forward? Right? Because as I often say, there's two ways for a team to get better in team sports. One is replace players with better players. The other is to have the players you have get better individually. Right? That's the only two ways to get better. I guess you could coach them up better, or you could scheme better. But really, the two main ways for your actual roster talent to get better is to either A, replace players with better players, which you try to do in the draft, you try to do in free agency, you try to do with trades. And then the other way is to just depend on your players to develop and get better themselves. And the best teams, the contenders, the best run franchises across all of professional sports, they do both every year. Okay? You don't see many, quite frankly, it's impossible, but you don't see many championship teams not make any changes. Canes might be able to do it, but I have an idea that they're going to make a change or two that we might not see coming. But you have to continue to look for improvement in every single place. So with the Panthers, option A, replacing players with better players, that's obvious, right? They brought in Jalen Phillips. They brought in Devin Lloyd. They drafted Monroe Freeling, right? They brought in players that they expect to increase the talent on their roster. We know that. I don't have to list, we don't have to think real hard to come up with that list. But the other one is more of an exercise. Who on the team is most likely to individually improve enough that you can improve the talent level of the roster? We asked that exact question, whatever I said it was, a few weeks ago, handful of weeks ago. And the answer that we came up with through listener interaction, I debated with Dennis, we had these conversations, the name we came up with was Nick Scorton. Because of his age, extremely young, because we expect that year 1 to year 2 jump, freshman to sophomore jump, kind of metaphorically, the stereotype is that's one of your most likely to take a big step forward years. So we said Nick Scorton. That's the equivalent of me tapping the thing that we strapped down in the back of the pickup and saying, like, that's not going anywhere, and hopping in the truck. Now we're out on the highway. We didn't even get to the first rest stop, and we're going, all right, that's already not strapped down correctly. It's not going to be Nick Scorton. He's out for the year. So let's ask the question again. What players on the Panthers, or what player, we're going to eventually narrow it down to one, what players on the Panthers and eventually what player on the Panthers is most set up to individually improve enough that we notice? I have 4 nominees in front of me. And by the way, it's important to acknowledge that will improve enough for us to notice. Because, if you're somebody that just runs down on punt and you become a much better runner-downer on punter, or like a much better gunner, as we call it, I don't know if we'll notice, right? You may be 200% better than you were last year. I don't know if we'll notice. So you have to also kind of have a role, right? That's what Nick Scorton had. So here's the deal. I have 4 names, and then we're going to talk it out, and we're going to discuss it just like we did all those days ago. The first one is Jalen Coker. And by the way, it is not just the player improvement. It could also be a little bit of opportunity, right? We could be learning that he's better than we thought. Jalen Coker, I think it's actually more about staying healthy than anything else. I think he would have broken out last year if he didn't start the first 6 weeks or whatever it was on the physically unable to perform list. And that came out of nowhere, right? That was right at the beginning of the season. All of a sudden he was out. I think he would have broken out in a big way last year. He did break out maybe in the playoff game with a massive game against the Rams. But if he stays healthy for the entirety, I think he's someone we'll be looking at the end of the year and going, wow, they did get better, and it's because he got better. Another one would be Trevin Wallace, third-year linebacker, was a day 2 draft pick. Trevin Wallace, and the reason why I think he can get better, the reason why I'm putting him up for individual improvement is he's going to be playing with Devin Lloyd. And Devin Lloyd is, 3 or 4 years older than he is, a little bit more accomplished than he is, has been through some ups and downs and has come out on the other side as a potentially all-pro player. So sometimes just linking up with somebody that's doing everything the right way and is also hopefully available, right? Like, a lot of the linebackers have been hurt that Trevin Wallace has been trying to learn from over the years. So put Trevin Wallace next to Devin Lloyd, behind Derek Brown, right? Feeding off of the attention that's going to Jalen Phillips, helping with Trayvon Merritt coming down into the box. I think he's surrounded by a lot of really good players, and I'm hoping he rises to the level of the guys around him. Nominee number 3, Corey Thornton, young cornerback. Opportunity and expectations for him are completely different than a season ago. Last year, he was very much fighting for the opportunity to prove himself, right? He was fighting for survival in a lot of ways. Now, I think he's earned, even though he's banged up a little bit last year, he's earned the opportunity and some high expectations. Like now it's no longer like, hey, whatever we get from Corey Thornton, it's all bonus. It's gravy. Now it's like he's got to play well. And if he and Will Lee, the rookie corner, and a few other of those young guys play well, that allows them to free up J.C. Horn to play in the slot, free up guys to blitz with more exotic blitzes. I think they can be a huge part of the team, but they got to play well. And then lastly, and this one is like the Pez dispenser. You take out Nick Scorton, another one pops right up. Princely Umanmielen. It's a 1-for-1 swap for Nick Scorton. Part of the reason why I was so excited to see what Scorton could do is not just because of the talent he had shown or the pedigree of his draft and everything else, but also because whoever's opposite of Jalen Phillips should have a lot of opportunities to get home. I've said it a million times. Jalen Phillips collapses pockets as much as he even works for himself to get sacks. And if Princely Umanmielen and his athletic ability can be on that opposite side, almost waiting for the quarterback to be scared out by Jalen Phillips and just pouncing on them at that point, I think that could be a really good spot for him. I think he probably needs to put on a little bit of weight. I don't know if he'll have time to play the type of snaps, the number of snaps that you'd hope from a Nick Scorton, but Princely Umanmielen can put up a funny number in sacks. And also, I think Evero, their defensive coordinator, has a real mental block on playing rookies, particularly not super highly drafted rookies. So perhaps just by the nature of Princely Umanmielen being a second-year player, he'll be entrusted a bit more. But I would expect Pat Jones to get the first run at it there. I don't expect Pat Jones to be a breakout player. We kind of know what he is. So those are my 4 nominees to replace Nick Scorton as the player that can individually improve the most. Now we have to decide. I'm eliminating. Well, we'll do this the reverse way. This is how sometimes me and my wife decide where we're going to dinner. We put 5 options out there and we go back and forth eliminating one at a time. Do you want to eliminate some, Max? You want to jump in here? We have Jalen Coker, Trevin Wallace, Corey Thornton, Prince Umanmielen. Who do you think is least likely out of that group to break out in a big way this year?
I think just positionally, probably Corey Thornton.
Okay.
In terms of defensive backs on this team, and you can separate the corners if you want, because Corey Thornton is technically a safety, right?
He's defensive back. He does a little bit of everything, some of the nickel stuff as well.
Yeah, but when you're in a defensive back room with Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, I think I'm a little bit higher on Shaw Smith-Wade.
Okay, that he could be an option to break out. I've not been as high on him.
I don't know why the name is escaping me. The kid from Ohio State. What is his name?
Lathan Ransom.
Yes, Lathan Ransom. I don't know why I was forgetting his name. Just in a bit of a crowded room, I think it's a little bit harder to break out for Corey Thornton. Umanmielen's going to have more opportunity just by virtue of the Nick Scorton injury. Jalen Coker, again, playing opposite of Tedero McMillan, that should give him some opportunities to have big games like he did in the playoff game.
Don't get ahead of yourself, because I'm going to eliminate Trevin Wallace here. I'll eliminate Trevin Wallace just because
acquisition of Devin Lloyd makes it actually tougher for him.
I think it makes it easier for him because all the attention is going to be on Lloyd, and he can get out in coverage and do some of the things that Wallace wants to do. But also, I think Wallace might end up being like increasing his level of tackles guy, be more active guy, but tackles just don't get us real excited anymore. You got to get your hands on the ball. You got to get the quarterback down in the backfield.
He already got that shot at he had the green dot too. Didn't they take it off of Roseboom and give it to him like midway through the season last year? He was solid, but
it's a different beast with Devin Lloyd out there. So anyway, I'm eliminating him, so I don't know why I'm arguing for him. So you now get to choose. I didn't do this intentionally, but it's Jalen Coker or Princely Umanmielen who's the most likely to individually have a step forward this year.
I think it's Princely again, just because of the way that injuries have set him up now. I think we were pretty hyped on him before last year
continue
too.
To be, yeah.
And when it's in an area that is of such need for the Panthers, like pass rush, is going to have chances opposite Jalen Phillips, where it's kind of like you just mentioned with the linebacker room with Devin Lloyd. Like Phillips, I think, is going to get more of the attention from opposing teams, and that could provide even more of a chance for Princely to increase this team's pressure in the backfield, because I'm so sick of watching quarterbacks just stand there back there in the pocket and have all day long to throw it wherever they need. So maybe it's more so I'm hoping that he can break out, but also just by the way things have shaken out already in training camp, the way they've acquired another big-time defensive end to play opposite him, I think Princely would have the biggest chance out of those few to have the biggest kind of individual breakout. But I think Jalen Coker is going to have a good year this year too.
I'm fine with Princely being the guy. The only argument I would have against that is I still don't know how often he's going to be out there. And I'm not sure if they trust him or even want to trust him for more than just like obvious pass rushing downs. And the Panthers have to be ahead on the scoreboard to get to many obvious pass rushing downs. And
they need pass rushing help.
I don't know how we're going to – they had it, but, I mean, Nick Scorton got hurt. Scorton and Jalen Phillips being spelled by Pat Jones and being spelled by Prince Umanmielen and a few others, that to me is a significant step forward from last year. I think they might be back in the same general area of last year, although Jalen Phillips is a better top-end option than anyone they had a season ago. So there you go. We settled on Prince Umanmielen. Turns out it could be us like putting the energy into the universe and hoping as much as it is us
manifestation
predicting. But it is it's an edge rusher's world. We're just living in it as they're looking for some improvement. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 on a Friday coming up after this.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar, the better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel Rewards.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains. Strep and sinus, minor sprains. Pink eye, earaches, fever, flu. Virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's a toasty afternoon out there with a high of 90, but our humidity does remain low. We'll see partly cloudy skies, and that will continue tonight with an overnight low of 68. Tomorrow's high 89, but it will be a bit more sticky. And then Sunday, expect afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 357 points today to 52,565.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. Football at 4 brought to you by John Heister, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and come to Heister. Now, I completely understand getting caught up. I completely understand craving something, wanting to see something, and maybe forcing yourself to see it. And I also want to be clear that I enjoy the coverage of Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer for the Carolina Panthers. I think he does a really good job. There's an article that he wrote for the Charlotte Observer that I'm not worried about Scott. I'm worried about the people that read it, because I hope that Scott was just talking about one practice, and the way it came across and the way I think people are reading it is some kind of like mic drop moment. Okay, so I'll read part of it. Scott Fowler, Charlotte Observer. On this was an article written about Bryce Young's Wednesday practice. So to be clear, they have an entire training camp. They're going to have preseason games. They're going to have the Hall of Fame game. They're then going to have an entire NFL season. We've already watched dozens of NFL games that Bryce Young has started. We've watched him in clutch moments. We've watched him turn it over, throw touch. We've watched a lot of Bryce Young. This article is about Wednesday's practice. Scott Fowler, Charlotte Observer. People can and should be skeptical about the sonnets written about starting NFL quarterbacks every offseason when no one is getting sacked and almost everyone looks good. But I'm here to tell you, based on whatever institutional knowledge I've acquired from covering these Carolina Panthers for 32 straight seasons, that what Young is doing in practice right now in training camp is about to lead to a really good and possibly great season for him. And it will lead to a massive new contract too. Now, I take some of that as hyperbole. I believe Scott is trying to tell us how incredible Bryce Young looked in a particular practice and is painting a larger-than-life scene to say he was throwing dimes out there. He was slinging the rock. He was connecting with Tedero McMillan here and Xavier Leggett there and this guy here and that guy there. And he wanted to make us all feel, when we read the article, what it felt like to be there when seemingly every pass was on the money. I fear it's being taken as a "I told you so" opportunity for people that have defended and or championed Bryce as the obvious superstar starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. People can be skeptical and should be skeptical about the sonnets written about starting NFL quarterbacks every offseason. I completely agree. I don't even know if skeptical is the term, because I'm not excited by them. I don't have to be skeptical. There are sayings about this that are repeated ad nauseum to the point where I guess we've become numb to them, but the NFL is a results-based business. It is a results-based business. And the results that we're talking about in that cliche are not practice results. They are not practice results. Matter of fact, I can give you plenty of examples of players that are unbelievable practice players that aren't that good in games, and vice versa. And vice versa. I know some players that aren't very good in practice or don't look the part in non-contact drills, but then you put them in a game and they're gamers. This is like a conversation we had about the Carolina Hurricanes all season, but it's on like unbelievable steroids. It's ramped up to the highest degree, right? Because the Canes would during the regular season go on a 5-game win streak. Or the Canes during the regular season would have a streak of point production by a particular line or by a particular player, and we'd get excited, but I always made sure to say it. And you can go back and listen to all of our archives. I always made sure to say it, or at least I tried to. This team can't prove anything to us in the regular season. This team will be judged by how well they play in the postseason, because we've already seen them do everything in the regular season, right? Over the last 8 years, we had seen the Canes win the division. We had seen them be 100-plus points. We had seen them do this. We had seen them do that. We'd seen them go on win streaks. We'd seen them overcome injuries. There was nothing they could do that would prove to us anything during the regular season. I say this with all due respect. There is nothing Bryce Young can do in practice to prove anything to me. He could be 2011 Aaron Rodgers in practice, slinging the rock as well as I have seen anybody that's ever thrown a football do it. He could be whatever it was, 2019 Patrick Mahomes. He could be 2007 Tom Brady. He could be 1984 Dan Marino. He could be the best versions. If he's wearing a practice jersey, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because guess what? We've seen Bryce practice well. Now, I wasn't there on Wednesday, so maybe this was truly the best practice that he had ever had in his entire life at any level. But I can tell you right now, there's a lot of compliments floating around there in the ether during training camps of yesteryear. Bryce looks great. We talked about Bryce Young taking the next step for 3 seasons. Could lead to a contract, a practice, a week plus before the Hall of Fame game. Could lead to a massive contract. And the contract that they discuss in the article, and I encourage you to go read it. Again, it's on Charlotte Observer. 4 years, $200 million. That's the numbers that are floating out there. Listen, do you remember the Atlanta game last year? Bryce Young broke the record for the franchise highest single-game passing yardage total in a game that he and Tedero McMillan connected on a bunch of passes, and they won the darn game in overtime. If that performance wasn't good enough to even guarantee solid performance the next week or 2 weeks after that, then there's no way a Wednesday practice on the second day in pads is doing anything other than it's a good practice. Like that is what it is, and it is nothing more. It doesn't have to be anything more, by the way. One of my coaches used to always tell us there are no 21-point touchdowns, right? And what that meant was, like, if you make a mistake, you can't just play harder on the next play and get it all back, right? If you throw 2 pick sixes and you're down 14-0, you can't go out there and throw the 21-point touchdown. The same is true here. There is no practice that makes you a great quarterback. Don't even try. Right? Don't even try to go out there and put together such an unbelievable practice highlight film that the owner walks down from the big office and signs your check right there, because it doesn't exist. All you can do is one play at a time, one drill at a time, one practice at a time, get a little bit better, get a little bit better, get a little bit better. Just like all you can do is one play at a time, one first down at a time, go score one touchdown to cut the lead. If you expect to go out there and win the game on one play, you're not doing what you should be doing. If you expect to go out there on the 7th practice of training camp and prove that everything that everybody said about you that's a criticism ever was wrong, and you fixed everything and you're ready to go, it's not going to work. You're going to press, and it's actually going to hurt you. Based on whatever institutional knowledge I've acquired, and I'm reading from the article, from covering these Carolina Panthers for 32 straight seasons, that what Young is doing in practice right now in training camp is about to lead to a really good and possibly great season for him. I imagine every football coach at every level that has ever worn the whistle can tell you a player that had a really, really good practice the same season, or a really, really good week of practice the same season that they had a really, really bad year. So reeling in expectations, I think, are important. This is why, and I know it doesn't really matter because hopefully the players aren't listening to the outside noise, but this is why coaches don't let you watch practice. Because how about this? If he had a really bad practice, would you be sitting here saying, now we know he's not getting a contract? Right? If he didn't throw a high completion percentage, if a couple of tipped passes got intercepted, would you be sitting here going, all of my institutional knowledge over X amount of years tells me that this is going to be an awful season? No. So you can't do it in the other direction. It's the same conversation we've been having with Bryce for years and years and years. I keep saying the same messages to people on either side of the fence. I keep saying, like, no, it doesn't matter. It's just practice. When he has a bad practice, to the haters. Now I'm saying it to the stands, the lovers. I guess what I would take away from it is this. If you're completing all the passes, all of them, if you got a perfect practice, you were on the same page as your wide receivers. That's the most important part, right? They made the right sight adjustments on routes, and you were able to anticipate it and let it fly. So that is something good, right? I'm not saying there's nothing good about having a great practice. I'm saying there's nothing that makes anything significantly more likely or unlikely this season. Not even a joint practice. This is against the defense. And then just personally, because I like pointing this out, coaches can also decide when these practices happen. Coaches can, because they script the offense and defensive play calls before the practice, right? You can call all of your cover 2 beaters and make the defense play cover 2. Hey, our offense needs a little confidence boost. Need a couple big plays. Cool. We'll call our man beaters and make sure we're into man. We'll call our cover 2 beaters, make sure we're into cover 2. You do that for a couple of drills, and all of a sudden your stats look fantastic. Should I quote Allen Iverson? We're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Can you imagine if a player or an agent approached a GM? So I know you think we're only interested in $13 million per year, but did you see the way they practiced on Wednesday? I think we're going to 15 per year now. I think we both acknowledge the market's gone up based on that hot 7-on-7 period he had. Talk about practice. It's exactly what they were talking about. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, let's talk about Maynard Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. You know what quite a few teams in the state of North Carolina might benefit from? An indoor practice facility. And you know what they might need once they have one? Heating system, cooling system, so they can use it all times of the year. You know, just like our house, right? No matter what, when you walk into your house, you want to be comfortable. If it's cold outside, you want it to be warm inside. If it's hot outside, you want it to be cool inside. Maynard Service Company wants to make sure that's always the case. It is actually, I mean, we're near the end of July already. It's a great time to start thinking about heating system maintenance, right? Service calls. Not a break, right? It doesn't mean it's broken. It just means before everybody has their heaters running overtime, get them out there to make sure it's looking right, making sure your heating system is tuned up and ready to go. The same way, hopefully, you called Maynard Service Company months ago to get your cooling system looked at, and that's why it's running so smoothly this summer. Heating systems, cooling systems, and of course, plumbing work and electrical work. Maynard Service Company does it all. Give them a call. Locally owned, by the way, so you'll be talking to someone right here in the Triangle. 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. When we come back, college football, college sports, they are a-changing. For the better? Not many people are saying that. I'll make an argument next.
Adam.
I'm Adam Gold, and I'm there.
Tim.
I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm there.
Dennis.
I'm Dennis Cox, and I'm there.
Victoria.
I'm Victoria Bodenecker, and I'm there.
Paul.
I'm Paul Eihander, and I'm there too.
You'll find them all here on the brand new 99.9 The Fan app. To work, to school, the beach, the mountains, the arena, take The Fan with you wherever you go. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
For 2 unforgettable nights, the legendary music of Pink Floyd comes to life like never before. The North Carolina Symphony joins forces with The Machine, America's #1 Pink Floyd tribute band, for an epic celebration of one of rock's greatest catalogs. Tickets on sale now. October 2nd and 3rd at 8 at the Martin Marietta Center at Menandy Concert Hall in Raleigh. Tickets online at ncsymphony.org.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth, everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction, one day Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters, discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams. Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the fur? Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So, college sports are changing. I think everybody is aware of it, right? Everybody is in on it. Everybody is, I don't know if everybody's in on it, but everybody is aware of it. All the way down to yesterday when we were out at the Holly Springs Salamanders game, and we were talking with the commissioner of the Coastal Plain League, Chip Allen, and he was talking about how, back in the day they had pro scouts. Now they have probably more college scouts than pro scouts. Watching the college baseball players play in the summer league because they're thinking transfer portal and NIL, and they're thinking, player that's from Mars Hill that goes to the Coastal Plain League has a big year. Maybe he's playing for a power conference school the next year, right? So everything's changing. Now I understand, especially things like that, right? Like Wood Bat League baseball, that feels like it should be timeless, right? That feels like it shouldn't change ever. But things are changing. Some I will resist against. Some I don't like. Some of the changes I think will take a step back. Some I think will take a step forward. And then there's this other category, which is like realizing that something made absolutely no sense the way it was operating before. It made absolutely no sense how college sports were essentially just taking from the popular sports to support the unpopular sports. I have a quote here from North Carolina, UNC's Chancellor Lee Roberts. This is from Brian Murphy, WRAL. That basically, as Brian points out, sums up athletic spending. So this is the quote from Lee Roberts. What we used to be able to do was to have football and basketball pay for the other 26 sports that we're proud to field and in which we have a very strong tradition. The transfers from the central budget are for the other 26 sports because football and basketball can't pay for all the other sports anymore. End of quote. Can we be clear on why those sports can no longer fund all of the other sports? Because they can pay players now? So college sports were essentially popular sport athletes were taking no salary in order to subsidize the unpopular sports. Now, that obviously was a successful business model for those people that were taking salaries in all of this, for the coaches and the administrators and the universities that were getting all of this benefit. But it is a good thing that you're no longer taking from the popular sports to subsidize the unpopular sports, and it should be on the universities to fund the sports that they plan on keeping. Like there's, for whatever reason, this like guilt that is being thrown on football and basketball for like wanting what they deserve. The guilt should be on the people that weren't funding the other sports in the first place. Why is it a bad thing that if you want to have a swimming team, you have to fund the swimming team? Why is it a bad thing that football isn't paying for soccer? Or why were those unpopular sports not being more efficient in their spending? The university has to fund things that the university wants to have on campus. If they don't see value in certain sports and they aren't making any money, they can do away with those sports. That would be a bummer. I would be against it. I see the value in sports, but if I were running a university, I would fund them. I've used this example a bunch, but you don't take the money that a science club gets in a research grant and go, perfect. You guys got $400,000 in a research grant. Let's take $200,000 of that and make sure the a cappella team can travel to their competitions. Right? You don't go, hey, the theater club put on a play that went gangbusters. They sold a bunch of tickets. Fantastic. Let's make sure the robotics club can afford their erector sets now with all of that ticket revenue. It doesn't happen. What you used to do makes no sense. Makes none. And the universities have oodles and oodles of dollars. Not to mention certain administrative and certain coaching positions got way bloated in their salaries. You could cut them back and fund all the other sports out of that money. I mean, it becomes more and more obvious. For example, Ohio State signed a jersey patch deal for their 36 different sports to wear, whatever it was. Is it SoFi or some other bank, JP Morgan Chase, as their sponsor, their advertisement on their jerseys. And it's for $17 million a year. There's a report that pointed out that $17 million a year is the entire athletics budget for Tennessee Martin. UT Martin's every sport, including I would say at least above average FCS football program, their entire budget is $17 million a year. If they can fund an entire athletics group of sports, including football, for $17 million a year, the big bad bully conferences can do it as well. $17 million to a university for all of the goodwill that comes from the sports, all of the positive vibes, all of the great experiences for your athletes, your student athletes. Yeah, do it. Absolutely do it. And don't make the football players pay for it or the basketball players pay for it. That's from, again, that quote was from the chancellor of North Carolina, Lee Roberts. Moving on here on the drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Another change that's coming to college sports. This is all just the future of college sports. The SEC this year is playing 9 conference football games. 9. Now, we could start at the bedrock of all of this and point out things that are wrong. Power conference teams, every single power conference team in the entire power, like it doesn't matter which conference, Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC, they should all play the same amount of conference games. They should all play the same amount of Group of 5 games. They should all play the same amount of FCS games. They should all play the same type of games so we can more easily decide which teams are deserving of the playoff at the end. I digress. The SEC is going to play a 9-game conference schedule. There is a tweet going around from ESPN Insights. And ESPN Insights is one of the, or not ESPN Insights, but the FPI and all of the strength of schedule, strength of record from ESPN Analytics are some of the analytics that do go into rankings and the committee sees and all of that. So here's the tweet. They put out a 2026 preseason strength of schedule top 20. I will read word for word. This season, the SEC will start a 9-game conference schedule. Then they put a little emoji of a calendar. They continue. A likely result of the additional conference game is that every SEC team has a strength of schedule in the top 20, according to ESPN Analytics. Now, this feels like a circular logic here. But I actually think one of the commenters on Twitter explained it very well. They wrote a skit. They wrote a little script where the first person says, who has the strongest strength of schedule? Answer, the SEC. Why? Answer, because they play a bunch of SEC teams. Question, how good are SEC teams? Answer, really good, because they play a bunch of SEC teams. Question, how do you know if SEC teams are better than other conferences? Answer, they are better because they play a lot more SEC teams than teams that are not in the SEC. It's a circular pattern where they're good because they play SEC teams, so then SEC teams appear better because they played SEC teams, and it just keeps going around and around, and they don't actually have to be better. What are we doing here? Well, they lost 7 games, but they were the teams that were all in the top 20, so they're going to be 21st. How'd they get in the top 20? Well, they're in the SEC. Like, it can't be that way. It can't. The teams that are, I mean, you're playing Florida. Florida was no good last year. You're playing Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was good last year, but they're notoriously awful, and especially when they don't have a quarterback like Diego Pavia. You can't just assume they're going to be great. I mean, we could look at Arkansas was not very good last year. They should have been. They had a quarterback that ran a 4.3 and a running back that ran a 4.3, but they still weren't that good. Mississippi State's nothing to write home about. What's Ole Miss going to be without Lane Kiffin? If you just assume these teams are good, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that the other conferences can't dig their way out of. And then to just blatantly say, because they're playing an extra SEC game, everyone in the SEC is playing the toughest schedule, I'm going, well, that's not the case at all. South Carolina is in the they're projecting every team that was down last year in the SEC is going to be up, and they're not doing that for teams that are down in any other conference. Now, I'm going to try not to just be a problems guy. I'm going to try to also be a solutions guy. It is a problem that opinion has become treated as fact. And my number one solution would be no rankings, no strength of schedule metrics are released until after 5 games. I want you to go out and play 5 games and show me that you're good before we start treating other teams as if they won or lost to a team that is good. But if I'm the ACC, if I'm an ACC team, here's what I do. I schedule one SEC game every year. I'll play in their place. I'll play neutral field. I play one SEC game every year. And in that game, I empty the ammunition. Every trick play I have, every best there's no playing for tomorrow. I unload the clip to make sure I win that game. And then I just lean on that. Well, against SEC teams, look what I did. No, I agree with you. The SEC is great. Well, I smoked an SEC team and handled my business on the rest of the schedule that you don't respect. So go ahead and put me in that CFP. And if I can, I am finding the SEC teams that for whatever reason are projected to be way better than they were last year, and I'm taking advantage of the fact that they likely are not. I'm playing South Carolina. I'm playing Florida. I'm playing Mississippi State. And I'm just going through it that way. The SEC is so big, bad bully. Yeah, well, we smoked the one we played. We would play more if we could, but we can't. They're playing 9 conference games. There's not enough. I really do think it should be like the NFL. I don't think teams should be able to make their own schedules. I think there should be a formula. It should be 9 conference games, probably 2 non-conference power conference games. So what are we up to? Now we're up to 11. And then 1 group of 5 game. And then the FCS games that teams like to play become your spring game. Because that'll make more money for everybody. But it'll never happen. Why? Because the SEC wants to keep all their dumb advantages. They'll threaten to leave, which they won't. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's get to something a little bit more fun here, a little bit more lighthearted and positive for the Carolina Hurricanes fans in the area. Do you know what is going to be one of the cooler things that I believe this Carolina Hurricanes team that just won the Stanley Cup can leave as a legacy? The amount of players that are undersized over the next 10 to 15, 20 years that realistically think they can go play in the NHL. Because it went from the thing that was holding the Canes back from winning a Stanley Cup was they're too undersized, they're not physical enough. When it gets to playoff time, they don't have the physicality. They love these small forwards and blah, 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 blah. And then they won the whole Stanley Cup. They won the whole darn thing. And they rolled their way with just 3 losses on their way to the Stanley Cup. And what did it become? Well, when you have a line with Stankoven and Blake and they're making such little money you can benefit from, and it's like, wait a second, those are the small guys that everyone was complaining about. And we're already seeing it. Do you know how to pronounce his name, Max? I know you guys talked about it a little bit this morning.
I would say Philippe Veilleux.
Philippe Veilleux is a 19-year-old prospect who is there. He's from Quebec. There's a town in Quebec. I don't know how to pronounce it. But he's in the QMJHL. He is being interviewed, and we have some audio for you. So, again, he has the accent. He's from Quebec. But this is what he had to say as a undersized forward prospect.
How do you find success despite not being the biggest guy?
I think just working hard in the gym helped me a lot this year. Also working on my skating. I think I have a good shot, good IQ, so that helped me a lot. But working hard in the gym and keep improving my skating will help me a lot.
Who inspires you in the NHL? Maybe guys who had similar doubts about size or had different paths to the NHL. Who do you see and get inspiration from?
I see a lot of guys. There's more and more guys who's smaller going to the NHL. When we see Carolina, they have a lot of guys like Stankoven, Blake, even Jarvis. So I take notes from these guys.
There's part of the legacy of this team. Stankoven, Blake, Jarvis. Heck, even like a Sebastian Aho, who's bigger than those guys, but by no means is he like a gargantuan forward.
Wasn't always that big either.
True. There's a legacy. It's almost like a, I don't know, I'm trying to think like Vince Carter when he played for the Raptors, and now all of a sudden there's all these really good Canadian basketball players, only instead of it being a geographic thing or a country thing, it's a size thing. There's going to be players who their confidence or their biggest and wildest dreams are bigger and wilder because of Logan Stankoven, because of Jackson Blake and Seth Jarvis, and the Carolina Hurricanes, who have the numbers and the analytics that don't make them shy away from the smaller guys. Because, you know, I'll go to the one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies. Kevin Costner, sports movie, GOAT. Not his best entry. The movie Draft Day, where they're talking about evaluating quarterbacks, and he's like, every player has a flaw, right? John Elway had no touch. He threw it too hard. It just didn't matter. Peyton Manning couldn't move, didn't have the strongest arm. It just didn't matter. You have to find out what's wrong with the prospect and find out if it matters. Well, how many times have we said out loud, if Seth Jarvis were 6'2", he would have been a top 5 pick. If Logan Stankoven were 6'3", there'd be no question he could be a center, right? We've said this so many times, and I believe what the Canes were able to do through their analytics is say, yeah, Logan Stankoven is 5'8", but it just doesn't matter, right? He's 5'8", but he's not getting pushed off his spot in front of the net. He's winning board battles. He's not any less durable. Like they've done the research and figured out it doesn't matter. And once you're comfortable with that, once you have some kind of confirmation, you can change the way you think about prospects. And then, yeah, you're going to end up with a lot of them. Why? Because everyone else in the league is knocking them down due to their size. And if you're not, or if you're not knocking them down as much, they're going to be available for your pick often. And you can prioritize other things. And I think it's cool. By the way, Philippe Veilleux's statistics in the QMJHL are pretty bananas, right? He's 96 points, 43 goals, and 64 games played this past year. Like he's doing something there. But he is a smaller guy, right? Listed at 5'9", 174. Probably not quite that. But if he's looking at the Canes, that's a legacy you can leave. We see it in sports all the time. I remember there was a I want to say it was a sports reporters piece. This is, 15 years ago now, back when sports reporters was like must-see TV. But it was about all of the tall pitchers coming after Randy Johnson. Because for the way that they painted it in the 10 minutes of TV that I watched 15 years ago, was it used to be if you were like 6'8" or above, you just basketball, right? You just, boom, you're a big man, you're playing basketball. Randy Johnson came around at 6'10", he's pitching, and he's throwing heat, and he has that angle, and everybody's terrified of him. Now suddenly it's like, hey, do you play baseball when you're talking to a tall guy? And it changed an entire generation of pitchers. Because suddenly it was okay to say, like, I don't really like basketball. But there's this other thing I can do. Anybody, by the way, like I'm 6'4", little under. Anybody that's over like 6'2", you get used to the question, oh, did you play basketball? Like, I can't imagine how much it is for 6'10". And now, 5'8" out there? Hey, you play hockey? That probably wasn't a question you were getting asked a lot at that age or that size. So shout out to the Canes for potentially at changing the lives of undersized hockey players all over the place. Or perhaps maybe just giving them a bunch of hope and then it's not going to come true. But hey, they'll have some fun chasing the dream along the way. By the way, just speaking of the Canes, since we have a few minutes here, there's nothing tremendously new out there about Alexander Nikishin and the discussions going on between him, his representation, and the Canes on a long-term extension, bridge deal, trade, or otherwise. At least not that's coming public. I think and I was talking with Adam during the little switch over the studio here, Adam from the Adam Gold Show. I do think there's a part of it that is the Canes just have like no other loose ends to tie up. I think Alexander Nikishin would tremendously benefit from the Canes having like 2 more openings in their forward group or something, just so fans and the attention could go somewhere else for a little bit, right? So we could go have a rumor that they're going to sign this guy because they need a fourth center or something. But because everything else is so already like buttoned up and they put a bow on it and they're done, the only questions we have are like, what's going on with Nikishin? What's going on with Nikishin? What's going on with Nikishin? And it makes it seem like nothing is happening at like a bigger scale, right? If you ask once a week, hey, you heard anything about Nikishin? Then we've only asked a few times since the end of the season, but I'm being asked every day if anything is going on with Nikishin. And because of that, it seems like nothing is happening, but it's a loud nothing. It's completely okay that nothing happening right now. Deadlines get deals done, and there's no deadline anytime soon. Right? The reports are, the rumors are that Nikishin is asking for $8 million plus a year. Reports are, Canes don't want to pay that much. Well, there's no reason for Nikishin to lower his ask, and there's no reason for the Canes to go up from where they are. So nothing is happening. But it's really a quiet nothing that's happening. It's a calm nothing that's happening. And because there's nothing else going on, there's no other loose ends that need to be tied up. There's no other players asking for a contract. There's no other agents making a stink. It seems like a loud nothing that's happening. So I have nothing new to report, but everybody try not to ask, even yourself or Google, even for a couple of days. Give ourselves a break, and I think we're going to recognize that the patience is not the end of the world. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, one of my favorite segments of the week, it's time for Real Bold Predictions. Stick around.
Hey everyone, Dennis Cox here real quick from my friends over at Law Tigers. I played sports growing up. I still play sports to this day, and I enjoy riding my motorcycle as well. And I look at riding my motorcycle similar to how I look at sports. You have to have good fundamentals. You have to have good basics because those are the core things that allow you to do the high-end stuff at a quality level. If you're a motorcycle rider, you got to make sure you do all the fundamental things properly before you get out on the highways. Even before you get on your neighborhood streets, you have to have good basics and good fundamentals, and it's good to practice those fundamentals every once in a while to reinforce those things so when you're out there on the road, you can do everything right to make sure that you're as safe as possible on the road. But if you could do all the right things, you could still get injured in a motorcycle accident, and that's why you got to contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Your case evaluation
Evaluation's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. 1-800-LAW Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks from training camp as the regular season approaches. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Yeah, can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
Meineke's highly skilled and certified technicians always treat your car like it's their own. With over 50 years of experience, Meineke will diagnose and fix any issue with precision and care using the best state-of-the-art equipment. You can always depend on Meineke to do the job right and get you back on the road in no time. Save time and schedule an appointment now. Visit Meineke.com today. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
Out here, you know the drill. Animals are hungry, dogs are getting muddy, and you just noticed you're low on feed. Stocking up at Tractor Supply is easy on your wallet with our unbeatable prices on select shavings, retriever dog food, and Producer's Pride animal and poultry feed. From backyards to barnyards, we've got everything to keep your pets, animals, and livestock well fed and comfortable with low prices all summer. At Tractor Supply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Was this a selection by you, the music coming out, or was this just what's up next in the rotation?
It's just what was up
All
next.
Right. Didn't know if you were in a Blink mood. It's before your time, but they were a big deal for a little bit there. One of their lyrics, "Nobody likes you when you're 23." I remember listening to that and going like, gosh, that's so old. 35 now. It's a real slap in the face right there by Blink-182. Unnecessary. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Can't bring me down on a Friday, though, especially when we have one of our favorite games lined up here to play. Let's jump into real, bold predictions. All right, so we have a smattering of football predictions here, right? And they're mostly season-long because whether NFL or college, they're just getting into training camp and just rolling on. So we'll start with this. Carolina Panthers. Jonathan Brooks leads the team in rushing yards. I wasn't sure if you were going to say that's bold.
I don't know if he's going to make it to the end of the season healthy.
I'm not sure either, but I'm willfully, right? So I feel like that makes it a little better. I'm ready to be hurt. I'm ready to be disappointed. The fact that they are not hiding him at all in training camp, like there's no limited reps. They're having him, I mean, even as dumb as it seems, they had him in special teams drills. They have him split out wide running routes. They have him doing everything. I wouldn't do it, but the fact that they are tells me they're treating him like he's never been injured, right? They're treating him like the two knee injuries that took the last 2 years away from him don't exist. And if they're willing to go that far, I'll be vulnerable. I'll open myself up to be hurt. And also, I think the version we saw of him at Texas, which is the last time we really saw him play, is a better runner than Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard's obviously much higher floor and much more of a grinder and can plow his way through some things. But Jonathan Brooks, top end, is a better version. So I'm choosing to be optimistic there. Glass half full. More Panthers. Tedero McMillan leads the NFC South in receiving yards. It's not bold to say he's going to have more receiving yards than Drake London and Chris Olave and Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin. And
how many of those guys did he have more receiving yards than last year? Probably most, I assume.
I don't think Drake London or Chris Olave.
Drake London missed like half the season.
No, I guess the last time he played a full season, it was 1,270 yards for Drake London. And last year, he did miss a good amount. He only played in 12 games, and he had essentially 100 yards less than Tedero McMillan did.
Tedero McMillan was the offensive rookie of the year. I think he could lead the division in receiving yards pretty easily.
Leads the... How do I make this bolder without getting crazy? How about this? Leads the NFC South in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. I think part of this is kind of also looking at their situations. I'm not sure the Falcons, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Tedero McMillan, Michael Penix. Not Tedero McMillan, sorry. Tua Tagovailoa. The Hawaiians.
I think it's looking
Hawaiians.
like Tua just based on Penix's injury situation right now.
I agree, but week 6, is it still Tua? Or is Penix now healthy, or is something else going on? And then when you look at the Saints, I just think they got more mouths to feed, right? They reportedly have Travis Etienne, formerly known as Etienne, and Alvin Kamara splitting reps. They brought in Jordan Tyson as a top pick wide receiver. There's more mouths to feed there. And then Tampa, they lost Mike Evans. Obviously, he was hurt a bunch last year. I don't know what that offense looks like. I don't know who goes where. Egbuka was great until midseason last year. That one's confusing to me. The one thing I know about the Panthers is Tedero McMillan's the focal point, right? Jonathan Brooks or Chuba Hubbard, meh. Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, who knows? Tedero McMillan is the focal point. So I think the volume will be there of targets. And he needs to, individual improvement. We talked about it earlier. He needs to be better in the red zone. He needs to be better contested catch. He needs to be better getting touchdowns. So that's why I threw that second part on there. Let's go to some of the college teams. NC State football. JoJo Trader leads the team in receiving yards. Incoming transfer from Miami. I've said this once. I'm pretty dead set on the fact that if you grow up with somebody as a quarterback, you trust them a little bit more than everybody else. And CJ Bailey and JoJo Trader go back to Pop Warner. They go back to high school. They've played a lot of football together. So, it really is subconscious. Like, I'm not saying he's thinking like I'm going to take care of my boy and I'm going to throw it to him more. It's more so like 50-50 reads where it's like, is the safety telling me to throw it there or not? You just instinctively give your buddy a chance and you're like, I'm going to give it to him. And then it becomes self-fulfilling, right? If JoJo makes the play, CJ gets more confident there. So now next time he's more likely to throw it, and it goes over and over and over. So I think JoJo Trader's in for a big season. And also, I know he didn't have a huge role with Miami. Miami has some dogs at wide receiver, so it's not as if he were riding the pine behind some scrubs. He was makes sense. More real, bold predictions here on The Drive. Duke football. Nate Shepard leads the conference in rushing yards. Look at this. I'm smoking the bells today.
He's got to outrush Mark Fletcher. He's got to beat
Isaac Brown from Louisville.
Isaac Brown. I always forget his name. I don't know why.
The fast guy from Louisville.
There's actually a lot of good running backs in the ACC this year, or at least there appear to be.
I think so. A few things here. One, I feel kind of bad that I didn't vote for Nate Shepard to be all ACC. The more I think about it, the more the top three, the ones you mentioned.
He was so good as a true freshman, though, last year.
The top three that you mentioned, Mark Fletcher, Isaac Brown, Nate Shepard, I think they could be interchangeable as far as who's the best going into this season. So I wish I would have gone Nate Shepard just to give him a little bit more love. But I also think the other two might have more competition in their offense for stats. Obviously, Miami has Cooper Barcade and Malachi Toney and like so many good players. Louisville also, Isaac Brown has been really good, but they do build that offense around the whatever transfer quarterback they're bringing in each year. Duke, this is not a Darian Mensah offense anymore. You know what I mean? Cooper Barcade's not walking through that tunnel. They're going to need Nate Shepherd to be super duper high volume. So maybe a little bit less efficient, but a lot more volume from Nate Shepherd this year is kind of what I'm expecting, and that could lead to him leading the conference in rushing yards. Finally, we could come back to another Panthers one, but finally for the college. Carolina football. They win 5 or more games. All right. Would I have gotten it with 4?
They won 4 last year. It would have been borderline. I don't think they're winning 5.
Gosh, this was going to be my for those of you that haven't listened to Real Bold Predictions, right? We have the bold enough bell, we have the not bold enough buzzer, the whole thing. We go into it. I try to have one where I call it I flip the game onto the producer who's doing the bell and the buzzer, because I just say like I was going to go up by 1 until it became bold. 5 wins is bold.
For them, yeah. I don't think they're beating TCU.
All right, let's run through it. Let's do the whole thing.
They'll beat East Tennessee State at home, so that's one win.
We got one.
They're not going to win at Clemson. They're not going to beat Notre Dame. I don't think they're going to win at Pittsburgh. It's going to depend on how good Duke is. I don't think they're going to win at Duke.
Okay, so we're now halfway through the schedule. They have 1 win.
Syracuse, I will give them a win there because although Syracuse before the quarterback went down last year, it's off to a 3-1 start and it just won against Clemson. So, but I'll give them the ones. That's 2. They're not beating Miami. I think at UConn is a tougher game than most would consider. But out of these last 4 games, I think that's the only one they could win. So I think they're maxing out at 3 wins.
So 4 would have been bold.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If you think they're maxing out at 3, 4 would have been bold.
I don't think they're beating Louisville. I don't think they're winning at Virginia. And then it's the NC State game, which State has won the last 5 of those.
It's been a while. They do say you throw out records in the rivalry game.
That is true. That is true.
Wow.
That outlook's not... Well, granted, UConn could be worse, but then again, I already gave them that win, so...
And they could steal 1 or 2, but then you'd have to imagine if they're stealing 1 or 2, the variance could go against them as well, and they could lose a game that they should win.
Maybe without Hoover, TCU is like significantly worse this year. In that case, maybe they start off with a win in Ireland, but...
If they start off 2-0, they're getting to 4 wins. They're getting maybe to 5
Maybe
wins.
exactly 4.
The reason why I say it is just, it is crazy. And the reason why I just did wins for them and I didn't go like Jordan Shipp receiving yards is because it is crazy how low the bar is for Carolina this year. Based on everything Max just told you, if they win 6 games, you have to consider it like an incredible coaching
6
job.
games would be a miracle.
That's what I'm saying. You have to consider it like if they're bowl eligible, you have to consider it an incredible coaching job. Based on the roster they put together.
I mean, I guess what's the path to that? They win those first 2.
They'd win the first 2.
They win at like Pittsburgh or Duke.
Probably
they beat
both.
Syracuse and they beat UConn. And then, or maybe they finally beat State.
But the thing is, if everything that you just said happens, they beat TCU, they beat East Tennessee, they beat Pittsburgh, they beat Duke, they beat Syracuse, they're sitting at 5-1 or 5-2. And then confidence is a heck of a thing, and who knows what happens. But the same can happen the other side as well. If they're 1-3 and got smoked by TCU, Clemson, and Notre Dame, they might be talented enough to win 4 or 5 games. But by that point, you're
demoralization.
You're beaten down.
It's not looking great for them.
Who
knows?
I'll give you my official predictions closer to the start, but 5 wins is bold for Carolina.
I think 5 wins is very bold, unless Pittsburgh and Duke are a lot worse than they were last year.
I think Duke could take a step back from where they were last year.
Well, yeah, when you lose Darian Mensah and Barcade,
Pittsburgh's
Brian Parker.
Probably getting a little better, though. Heinschel coming back. He got some votes in Player of the Year voting. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is real bold predictions. When we come back, it's time for the starting 5. Don't go anywhere.
having Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Shedeur Sanders, if he starts double-digit games this year, now all of a sudden you're developing an asset that can then be your backup quarterback, that could be your pace car for your rookie quarterback that you draft next year, or that you can flip in the offseason. Deshaun Watson, there's nothing he can do to help move your franchise forward.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm Galen, co-founder of Brooklyn SolarWorks. With my Chase Inc. Business Premier Card, I get unlimited 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more. So everything we buy to run our solar business gives us cash back that we put back into the neighborhood, donating solar panels to community gardens.
Chase Inc. Cashback built for every business. Find the right card at chase.com/inc. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
You could argue that making jewelry by hand is yesterday's way of doing it. You could claim that being particular about custom design and old-world craftsmanship slows down the process. You could call us old-fashioned, and you'd be right. Because the heart and soul of Bailey's is our workshop, where skilled craftsmen create heirlooms meant to last for generations. Come see why we've been voted the best jeweler year after year. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
Genie log, day 15,824. The Powerball jackpot is over $700 million now. I'll be stuck in this little lamp forever with nothing but all this stupid gold and rare gems. A gold-plated motorcycle? Sure does a lot of good when you live in a 10x10 magic lamp. Come find me. I'm at latitude 36.06.
Grant your own wishes. The Powerball jackpot is over $700 million. Must be 18 to play. Approximate jackpot odds are 1 in 293 million. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel Rewards.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio, WCMC HD1 Holly Springs, 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We had a pleasant day. Not nearly as cool tonight with a low temperature at 68. Tomorrow we'll shoot for 90 for a high with partly cloudy skies. Sunday, a chance for thunderstorms that could be severe. The high at 86.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day up 276 points to 52,485. This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The starting five here on 99.9 The Fan, The Drive with Tim Donnelly, is brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. For roofing, siding, windows, and doors, trust the team that's been doing good work for over 100 years. Baker Home Exteriors, roofing the Carolinas since 1915. BakerHomeExteriors.com. It is Friday at 5, by the way. If you work a traditional Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job, congratulations, you've made it to the weekend. Cheers if you're into that sort of thing, but most importantly, thank you for starting your weekend with us. And we will start the starting five with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Major League Baseball's trade deadline is on Monday. Now, I know we're not, the closest to a baseball team, and we may not talk it as much. But I do have a saying about appreciating greatness. And how about this for a teaser for the Major League Baseball trade deadline? It comes from Jeff Passan of ESPN, their baseball insider, wrote an article for ESPN.com. One of the biggest deadline trades this century is days away from happening. The Tarik Skubal sweepstakes has arrived, not officially from the Detroit Tigers, but telegraphed through the preparations of the interested teams with means to get him by the 6 p.m. Eastern Time deadline on Monday. Baseball is unique in a way that certain trades become like mandatory, and everybody knows it and accepts it. There's I saw a relief pitcher for the Mets, basically was thanking the Mets. He'd through whatever two innings a couple games ago, and after the game he was like, "Yeah, hopefully I can get one more for these guys. I love this team. Hopefully I can be on the field one more time." And it's the middle of the season, but he's saying, "Hopefully I can pitch for him one more time before I'm traded." It's just, I guess it's in the numbers. And when that happens, for someone like Tarik Skubal, who is one of the pitchers of the generation, that's fascinating to me. Now, I guess the question becomes, Dodgers, Yankees, which insanely deep-pocketed team does he go to? Or is there someone that's out there really making a run that's going to rent him for a little bit and let him hit the open market? Who knows? But the deadline is on Monday, and there's going to be some fireworks there. The sellers will sell, the buyers will buy, and we'll see where it all shakes out. Skubal could be traded. Crazy. It's also like the problem with baseball. Detroit should be able to keep a guy that, it's not like this was a top number one pick or anything like that. They had a say in how he got to where he is, and they're just going to have to trade to get the benefit of it rather than just enjoying having a great pitcher for the next 10 years.
They couldn't put together another really good year this year around him.
Yeah, I guess you could say it was on them. They should have won more. That's fair. But I also think, even if they won the World Series last year, he would just be leaving now with a World Series ring.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the difference isn't like $1 million here, $1 million there. The difference could be like $100 million based on where he goes next.
Probably getting traded to the Dodgers too, so they have the money to handle that.
They'll just defer it all, and somehow Shohei Ohtani's interpreter will be a part of it.
Maybe he'll be one of the last big contracts they sign before there's no season next year.
That's another thing. Got to get all those down. I know, when the NFL went into the whenever it was their last CBA negotiation, I have some buddies that are in the league. They were legitimately told, hey, this year, save 3/4 of your check, because that's going to have to fund you for next year possibly. The PA was telling them, watch out for it. And which for the 100 millionaires, who cares, right? They'll just dip into their investments. But for the guys that are near the bottom, they were like, we're kind of changing the way we live to make sure we're good for a strike. And I'm sure that's what's happening in Major League Baseball. From the big guys that want to make sure they get all their guaranteed money locked in now before a potential minimum or cap or anything like that, all the way on down to the guys who are like, if I miss a year, that's like my retirement fund. That is number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
So we can update you on some PGA golf action that involves some locals, both this week and next week. This week, the Rocket Classic is going on. How about this? By the way, it's in Detroit, so maybe they can go stop by and give some advice to Tarik Skubal. How about this? There are 3 names tied for first right now at 10 under par. 2 of them played their college golf right here in the area. Cameron Young is in the clubhouse. He went 9 under on the day. That's the lowest round on the day today. 9 under on the day in the clubhouse, 10 under par, tied for first. Patrick Cantlay, no local ties. He's also tied for first, 10 under. And Ryan Gerard, who's still out there through 14 holes in the second round. He played his college golf at UNC. He He is tied for first. So there's some dueling ACC golfers up there from Wake Forest and UNC at the top of the leaderboard. Another Wake Forest golfer in the top 10, Michael Brennan. He is 8 under par. He's in a tie for 8th, and I believe that's it for the local guys near the top. But still, that's I get excited when we become like not only the mecca of college basketball, not only the mecca of some other college sports, but Georgia's got some good ones. I know Ohio State's pretty proud of their golf, but you throw Wake Forest into the teams with the triangle, there's pretty good golf coming out of this area. Now, for next week, what does that mean? Well, it means this. The Wyndham Championship is coming to Sedgefield in Greensboro. Wyndham is a stop on the PGA Tour, like a traditional event, and a whole bunch of the local guys are scheduled to come through there as well. We talked about it a bit on the Dean's List, but Ben Griffin, who played at Carolina, Cam Young, who we already talked about, Ryan Gerard, who we already talked about, Alex Fitzpatrick, who played his college golf at Wake, Alex Smalley, who played his golf at Duke, and JT Poston, who played his golf at Western Carolina, are all either Ryder Cup level or at least in the top 30 of the FedEx Cup standings as it stands right now. And they are all scheduled to be in the Wyndham Championship next week, as is Webb Simpson, who you pointed out earlier, another Wake Forest golfer who fallen off a bit, but there were points in his career.
Major champion.
Yeah, there were points in his career where he was up there with the biggest of the big dogs. And he's also a local guy. He's from Raleigh, right? I think so. So there's some real college golf news being made, or actually not college golf, some golf news being made by guys with ties to the area. Who do you think wins this weekend? Go.
Ricky Fowler.
Oh, it's been a while since Ricky was in the winner's circle.
Actually, hold on. He's dropped a couple shots. Cameron Young.
Ricky's tied for 4th right now.
He was in solo first earlier. I think he's dropped like 3 or 4 shots since then.
1 stroke off the lead. I'd be all right.
Was he
with
still at
Ricky.
9 under?
Yeah, he's at 9 under.
He's cut off from the top. It's playing through right now on the TV, and he's not on the screen. So I assumed he had dropped another shot.
No, he's tied with Matt Wallace, Chris Kirk, Ricky Fowler, and Patrick Fishburne.
Okay, maybe Ricky can win then. He won there 3 years ago, so
I would love to see Ricky win. I think Ricky. It's good for the sport when Ricky Fowler is good.
We have a cardboard cutout of Ricky Fowler in our basement.
Oh, I was like, I thought you meant around here.
No,
like
at my house.
My
roommate, actually, he just got engaged and moved out. But earlier on, a few years ago, he used to work in the golf section at Dick's Sporting Goods. And he got it was like a tailor-made ad cut out with Ricky Fowler.
Oranged out?
Yep.
Yeah. This is probably before your time. When I was in college, Ricky Fowler was a very popular Halloween costume because you could just go buy some really sweet orange Puma golf gear and be like, it's for my Halloween costume. And then you just had nice Puma golf gear. And it became an outfit when you wore it all together, right? When you had the orange hat, the orange shirt, the orange pants. It's like, oh, you're Ricky Fowler. But other than that, you could just wear them all individually, and it was just golf gear. So it's a real golf hack for Halloween. That is number 4. Let's get to number 3. NFL news from around the NFL with training camps going on, practices going on. Baker Mayfield is reportedly upset, feels disrespected by the Buccaneers because they only offered him a 2-year contract extension. Think about that. Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN, former front office executive for the Jets and a few other teams, he thinks Baker is maybe attacking this one the wrong way. Here's Mike Tannenbaum.
Baker Mayfield is easily aggrieved. He's easily aggrieved. He is a good player. He's a good person. He is easily aggrieved. He was aggrieved in Cleveland. He was aggrieved in Carolina. He's been aggrieved by Kevin Stefanski. He's now been aggrieved by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, what I would tell him is be quiet. Just be grateful and go play. Because when you graduate from Tampa Bay at the end of this year, how many teams are left on this planet that are going to pay you $50 million or more that need a quarterback that aren't going to draft one?
I agree with Mike Tannenbaum while also acknowledging that's not how Baker operates. If I were Baker Mayfield, I would be grateful that they're offering me 2 years and the reported $100 million. And I definitely, even if I decline, I would politely decline, because if anyone's going to offer me $100 million, I'm going to treat them with respect, regardless of how much I think I'm worth. But I also want to be clear. If that's how Baker Mayfield thought, if that's how he acted, he wouldn't be where he is. Baker Mayfield takes anything and perceives it as a slight and uses that as firepower. It's funny. It pertains to the Panthers, right? Because every time Baker Mayfield plays against Steve Wilks, he makes a big deal about Steve Wilks cut him from Carolina. And you know, like, oh, this guy cut me. Let's go out and show him. And he riles up his buddies. And everyone here in Carolina gets all bent out of shape, because the truth is Baker wanted to be cut from Carolina because he was on the bench, and he wanted to go have an opportunity to catch on somewhere else, which he did, by the way, with the Rams. And you know, 2 days after being claimed by the Rams, he played for the Rams and rebuilt his entire career from there. It worked out well. And Steve Wilks wasn't cutting him because he thought Baker was donezo. It was like an obvious move. So Carolina fans and Carolina media people get very bent out of shape when Baker paints this picture about, like, I need to get revenge on Steve Wilks for cutting me. And I'm going, Baker, in a sobering moment, knows Steve Wilks wasn't being a jerk. He doesn't care that he's incorrect. He needs that to get riled up. He does. I know people, like, right now he's super polarizing, but LeBron James has talked about this on The Shop, right? That the little, I don't even know what it is. It's like a podcast, but it's a TV show that he started. He's mentioned how there are games where it's like game 54 of an 82-game season. He's in Detroit and it's cold, and he gets to the arena. He's like, I will look in the stands and find the LeBron hater and like nod at him or just rile him up a little bit so they say some trash talk to me. So then every time I hit a bucket, I'm looking at the LeBron hater, and he's like, it doesn't really matter. I seeked it out. I think when you are negotiating with a player, you need to know the player, right? Some players play better when they are aggrieved, right? When Mike Tannenbaum's sitting there going, Baker is easily aggrieved. He said it like 10 times. Baker plays better aggrieved. He plays better when he thinks that the opposing team has done something to him, or even his own team that he needs to prove something wrong has done something to him. There's another Baker story. I want to say it's from when he and Patrick Mahomes in college had the craziest offensive game in the history of the world. Baker was playing for Oklahoma. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes was playing for Texas Tech, which is where Baker had played previously. And it was like 700 passing yards to 500 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns to 6 passing touchdowns. It was a bananas game. And I want to say it was in Lubbock, which is where Baker had the disrespect of Texas Tech. And do they throw tortillas onto the field or something at Texas Tech?
Yeah.
And he said that he got into it with a fan who threw a tortilla onto the field, and he just picked it up and ate it. And looking back, probably wasn't a smart thing to do, a little gross. But he was all riled up. Then he went out and had that kind of game. So I think you don't have to worry about him being aggrieved. You maybe have to worry about it when he's not aggrieved. Other NFL news, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, both not playing right now. They're at training camp for the Falcons and Lions, but not participating because they want more money. Here's ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter with what's going on with Gibbs and Robinson.
It should surprise nobody. Both running backs have so much at stake, and both are poised to reset the market and become the highest paid running backs in NFL history. It doesn't make sense for them from a financial standpoint to step onto a field to risk injury while their contracts still are not done. Now, both running backs, Gibbs and Robinson, have had conversations at various points during the offseason. And I think the feeling around the league continues to be that there will be deals that get done at some point this summer for both backs, Robinson and Gibbs. But as long as those deals are not done, it appears as if the running backs have decided that they cannot afford to be on the practice field risking any sort of injury.
Running backs are always going to be fighting an uphill battle. Those two have as good of an argument as any But, I mean, just go look up the highest paid running backs versus the highest paid tight ends. You could be like the third best running back in the world, and you're just hoping if you can find a way to get Kyle Pitts money or to get like a Cole Kmet money. Like this is a downgraded position. If I were them, I would focus on all the passes they catch because they're really good out of the backfield, and people tend to pay for receiving ability more than rushing ability. That is number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Lopez in the pistol with Hood behind him. He will hand to him. Hood right side. Slithers through and powers home. Touchdown, Carolina. What a start for Belichick in the heel.
Okay, UNC football had their first practice yesterday of training camp, which means it is the first chance for them to start putting last season behind them. Now, we talked about it earlier that there's, I would say, the expectations. It's been a long time since they've been this low for Carolina football. Maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe there's the surprise ambush that they can execute. One of the things that I think is going to be a challenge for them to overcome, and I say one of because I think there are many, but one of is their lack of stability at the moment at quarterback, right? Usually, if there is a team that storms out of nowhere or surprises everybody and does much better than anybody anticipated, it starts with a quarterback that we were all wrong about. Like, oh, that guy's actually really, really good, and then everything can build off of that. For Carolina, we don't know who that quarterback is, but we do finally have a little bit of insight. With practice yesterday, multiple reports, multiple different publications indicated that there's a 30-minute window where media can watch practice, and in that 30-minute window, the quarterback that took the first-team reps was Miles O'Neill, the transfer from Texas A&M, which I thought was interesting because Miles O'Neill doesn't have any of the like default firsts. What I mean by that is if you are passing out treats to elementary school kids, you don't want to give out favorites. So what do? Line up alphabetically, right? And then there's no favorites. It's just you're in line by your name, right? It's not my choice. Or you pick out of a hat, or you line up by age. You do something, right? If they were to go just seniority, Billy Edwards Jr. would be the first out there because he's the most senior member of the team. He's a transfer incoming, but he's played more college football than anybody else. They didn't go with Billy Edwards Jr. If they went with the returning player, the player who supposedly would know their way around Carolina the most because he was on the team last year, that would have been Autori Newkirk. But they went with Miles O'Neill. That tells me it's choice, which, by the way, it should be. Like, coaches shouldn't cop out and go alphabetical or shouldn't cop out and go by age. A lot do during competitions. But throwing Miles O'Neill out there tells me that he is the leader. Coaches may not want to admit it. They probably won't admit it publicly. The one that gets the first stab at it is the leader. So for the first time, we have a little bit of a hierarchy in their quarterback competition. Travis Burgess, their incoming freshman, also participated in practice and also received some praise from Bobby Petrino, their offensive coordinator. But nothing speaks like reps. Nothing. Tell me how many plays a person got in practice, how many plays with the first team they got in practice, and I can tell you what the coaches think about their ability to help the team this year. Miles O'Neill, the transfer from Texas A&M, first to the starting gate. That is number 2. How about number 1?
Go one! I feel great about playing football right now.
Well, the Carolina Panthers are living in a post-Nick Scorton, post-Chris Brazzell world for this year. All right, those injuries have taken place. They've elected on their medical procedures, and they are out for the season. Chris Brazzell being the third-round pick wide receiver. I know when somebody gets hurt, it is instinct to immediately go to like a free agent tracker online and sort by the position you're looking for. Like, Chris Brazzell gets hurt. Who's available? Tyreek Hill's still rehabbing. Stephon Diggs is there. Max threw out Keenan Allen's name earlier. I saw Chase Claypool was working out for somebody today. Like there's all of these names that we know. And I guess it's worth it just to see, right? Don't leave any stone unturned, right? Go check to see who's out there. But if I am the Panthers, I am doing everything I can to be exceptionally aware and disciplined of the window that I am creating. This year is still not a Super Bowl chasing year. And I hope that's not insulting to say. Right? You were 8-9 last year. It's been a while since you had a winning record. Focus on that, right? Baby steps forward. They've won 3 more games than they did the previous year, each of the last few years. That's likely not going to happen again because these wins are more difficult to scrape by. If you had won 11 games this past year, and you won your wild card game to make it to the divisional round, and you came up short by just a hair there, and you were returning a Pro Bowl quarterback and all of these stars, then yes, if your third wide receiver got hurt, I would be saying, boom, Keenan Allen, make it happen. Boom, bring in a pro that you know on third down will be where they're supposed to be. Do it. But where you are now, you're still thinking 2-3 years into the future. As far as true competition and true contending goes, you're still thinking 2, probably more likely 3 years into the future. So continue to build with young players, low-risk players, where if it doesn't work out, it didn't cost you that much money, it didn't cost you a high draft pick. Like keep firing there. And this is the absolutely you have to know what you have Xavier Legette year. Now, maybe with Chris Brazzell on the roster, you were comfortable kind of slow playing that, but now throw him in there. I know for certain by week 8 if Xavier Legette has any future on your team or not. And if the answer is no, he doesn't, then get to the Jimmy Horns, get to the John Mechie's, get to the other guys and find out if they have a place in your future. This is wide receiver 3. If Tetairoa McMillan went down with an injury, then for Bryce Young's development and for your play caller's development with a first-time play caller, I would say, all right, you might have to be drastic. You might have to go take care of some things, go figure out a way to get by. But losing your wide receiver 3 is not a panic move. It is a bummer move. It is disappointing. It is, now we're going to have to tweak some things. But as tempting as it is, if they go sign a 30-something-year-old wide receiver, I'm going to be very disappointed. In a different, like the we talked about earlier, the Niners, they lost or appear to perhaps be losing Ricky Pearsall, one of their wide receivers who's had a really rough go of it physically since he was drafted in the NFL, right? He, what was he, being mugged and he got shot? He came back from that. He's got a knee issue, and now he might be looking at that knee issue taking him out for this year again. They went and signed Deebo Samuel, a 30-something veteran that they have experience with, but San Fran thinks they can win a championship this year. Right? They have a quarterback that they've given the long-term contract to. Who knows how much longer Christian McCaffrey can hold up with the level of use that they give him. George Kittle is a guy that is exceptional when healthy, but again, who knows how long he lasts. They have to go all in. Bringing in the veteran makes sense there. Even if that means their second-round pick, Dejon Stribling, doesn't get as much opportunity to impact the game. The Panthers should never block a young player with an old player, unless it's one of your guys that you've developed and been around. Don't panic. And, by the way, it's still July. There's a lot of time left to figure out what you have and what you need before you get to actual game action. Maybe there's a player out there you trade for or something, but it would have to be a perfect situation. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, our starting 5, is brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. The Baker family has roofed the Carolinas since 1915. Baker Home Exteriors, roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Always good work. BakerHomeExteriors.com. I'm going to try that again. I need to get a better whistle. The Baker family has roofed the Carolinas since 1915. There you go. That was better. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for the one more rep. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Numbers game time. We have 5 seconds of summer tickets at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 14th. Should be a great show, and we want you to go. But you have to win. You got to earn it. We don't just give things away. Actually, we do quite often, but not this one. Call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Call in now to play the numbers game, and you might win yourself some concert tickets. One more time, the number, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Excuse me, you think you could spare a square?
Sorry, what?
A square on your smartphone.
Oh, yeah, for the 99.9 The Fan app.
Exactly. Listen to your favorite hosts, teams, and live sports action.
The Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere.
Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
Plenty of companies will sell you a new roof. Fewer will tell you if you actually need one. Since 1915, people across the Carolinas have trusted the Baker name to do right by their homes. Baker Home Exteriors now does roofing, siding, windows, and doors, and always honest advice. The motto puts it plainly: we shall do good work, at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always good work. Trust the team that's earned it for over 100 years. Baker Home Exteriors. Visit bakerhomeexteriors.com.
Yeah. Can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
Experience legendary craftsmanship with an Omega timepiece. From the iconic Speedmaster that journeyed to the moon to the sleek Seamaster made famous by the world's most stylish spy, Omega watches are built for precision, adventure, and timeless elegance. At Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Raleigh's Village District, explore a curated selection of Omega timepieces that speak to your legacy. Whether you're starting a collection or adding your next chapter, find your perfect fit at Bailey's, voted best jeweler. Visit BaileyBox.com to learn more.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Once we get another contestant, it's becoming an everyday thing now. Lines dropping, people being reluctant. Either way, Preston in Durham is waiting for you to give him a battle in the numbers game. So call in 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Call in now. You can get thrown right into the fire. Show your competitive spirit in the numbers game. We need some jersey number trivia aficionados. Call in now, 919-860-5326. There we go. We have the line picked up. I will, in just a couple of moments, know who is facing Preston in Durham. And it will be Jeremy in, we're all learning this together, Jeremy in, he's on I-40. So Jeremy on I-40 will take on Preston in Durham. But first, we have to decide who goes first. The way we do that is by bringing them each onto the show. We ask them the same question. Max will pick his favorite answer. That person will go first, and we'll go from there. Let's go to Preston in Durham. Preston, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, the question is, as it often is on Fridays, we're looking ahead to a weekend. What are you looking forward to most? But because we're a sports show, make sure you keep it sports related.
The only thing I can really think of is what's going to happen with the trade deadlines for WNBA and for MLB, since they're right around the same.
All right, trade deadlines for WNBA and MLB. Any follow-ups, Max? Nope, we are good to go. So we'll go to Jeremy on I-40. Jeremy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, same question to you. It is Friday. We are looking ahead to the weekend. What are you looking forward to most about this weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure you keep it sports related.
Just old man league basketball game.
Old man league basketball. Any follow-ups, Max?
Is your team good, Jeremy?
Not really.
I appreciate your honesty. Max, the options for you are trade deadlines in both WNBA and MLB, or Jeremy and his old man league basketball not too really good team.
Well, as a member of a rec league basketball team that just folded this week after going 0-7, I know
you quit?
I know what that's like. Well, it was we were setting records in the worst way.
It's
bad.
Have you ever seen the movie Hardball?
No.
Life is about showing up, Max.
Well, we have most of us.
I'm blown away by your ability to show up.
I'm one of many who stopped showing up because it was so bad. So I can emphasize with what that's like. Empathize. Hopefully, Jeremy, at least his team has gotten a win. He will get the opportunity to get a win by going first.
All right, Jeremy on I-40 will go first. Preston, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a minute or two as we take care of the other contestant. So, Jeremy, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have NFL players that sound like they belong in nature. Their name has some kind of a nature feel to it. MLB players that led the league in triples at some point in their career. NBA players that were Ish Smith's teammates at some point in time. He played for about 1 million teams. Or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Let's go NFL players whose names sound like nature.
All right. NFL, the official name of the category is Sounds Like They Belong in Nature. I will give you team and player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis Colts.
17.
Correct. Xavier Woods, Tennessee Titans.
Pass.
Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
83.
Incorrect. Deion Branch, New England Patriots.
86.
Incorrect. Xavier Woods, Tennessee Titans.
Pass.
You can't pass.
Oh, 11.
Incorrect. Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
89.
Correct. Deion Branch, New England Patriots. I needed you to say the 83 that you said for Santana Moss for Deion Branch. Deion Branch, we would have accepted 83 or 84. You got 89 for Santana Moss. Xavier Woods was 25. Phillip Rivers, 17. You got that one quickly. 2 is the number to beat. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stand the line. And that'll bring us to Preston and Durham. Preston, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are MLB, players who led the league in triples at some point in their career, NBA players that were teammates of Ish Smith at some point in their careers, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I do NBA. Yeah, NBA Ish Smith teammates.
All right. He was on a record 13 teams in his NBA career, so there's a lot of options here. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it, and you need at least 3 for the victory. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Dwight Howard, Orlando Magic.
12.
Correct. LaMelo Ball, Charlotte Hornets.
1.
Correct. Yao Ming, Houston Rockets.
11.
Correct. Anthony Davis, New Orleans Pelicans.
23.
Correct. Andre Drummond, Detroit Pistons.
0.
Correct. Perfect score. Flying through it.
19 and a half seconds.
19 and a half. It's not our best ever, but I'll tell you this. Anything under 20 is absolutely flying. Congratulations, Preston. That is a perfect score.
Thank you. Thank you.
That you didn't even waver on any of them. Andre Drummond, you took like a half a beat, and that was it. That was pretty darn good. By the way, Ish Smith has played with some dogs. He's got like one of those, make it starting 5 out of the best 5 players you played with. That's a pretty good list right there. Preston, congratulations. The 5 Seconds of Summer tickets are yours. Go ahead and stand the line, and Max will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize.
All right, will do.
There you go. That was on a podcast recently. I don't even know what podcast it was, so I apologize for not citing it. It was not my podcast, but it was Tim Hardaway Sr. and Quinn Cook, who played obviously his college basketball at Duke, and they asked Tim Hardaway Sr., like, hey, put together a 4-on-4 team, you and 3 people that you played with in the NBA, and then we're going to do the same for him, and we're going to see which one wins. And Tim Hardaway Jr. put together a squad, right? He was like Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, and I forget who the other one was, a European big. and he was like, and they were dogs, and he was hyping them up. They went to Quinn Cook. Quinn Cook thought for a quarter of a second, and he said, Bron, Steph, and KD. And it was just like, oh, yeah, you played for some good teams. Yeah, you played for alongside some good players. And Quinn Cook didn't play for 1,000 teams like Ish Smith. He just happened to play for the right ones. That's an underrated, by the way, part of like journeyman pro careers are, did you get a chance to be in the room with Hall of Famers? I've got some friends, I've got some family members that have spent, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years in the NFL. Some of them just so happen to be like, yeah, I was playing next to DeMarcus Ware, or, oh, yeah, I was playing next to Julius Peppers. And they get to tell awesome stories about watching those guys. And then some have been in the league for 9 years, and they're like, well, I've got a couple Pro Bowlers that I played with. And it's obviously no better or worse for their individual careers. It's just, do they have better name-droppy stories? That's kind of what we're getting into. Name-droppy stories. It happens. Ish Smith, 13 teams. I'm going to have to remember him for when we're talking about like all the ad reads for realtors and mortgages and home things that fix your home and everything, because 13 teams. That guy's moving a lot.
Yeah, Ish Smith, Demon Deacon.
Demon Deacon.
There's a picture I have when I was like, I want to say I was like 8 years old. We did this, like my dad took me to this like Christmas, or it's like Christmas time. It might be like the week before, sometime in December. It was called like Santa's Helpers, where like a lot of the wake athletes, because I grew up in Winston, they'd help like go around taking like, it was like donated toys and stuff to like families in need. And there's a picture of me with Ish Smith eating a Krispy Kreme donut. We were just sitting there like before we ended up like going out to deliver all the stuff. So yeah, Ish Smith.
Was it a good donut?
Of course it was. It was Krispy Kreme. Winston-Salem is the home of Krispy Kreme, for those who don't know. But if you live in North Carolina, you probably know that already.
Ish Smith is from North Carolina as well. I wonder if he doesn't have a house somewhere either around here or near Charlotte where it's like the home base. So even as he moved over, like the off seasons were always spent somewhere.
Well, one of the last teams he played for was the Hornets.
True.
Might have been the last team, if I remember correctly.
I would not venture a guess.
I think he might have gone to the Nuggets after. No, the Hornets was the last team he played for.
Because that guy, I mean, I can vividly see him in my mind's eye on 4 or 5 teams, and that's not even half of the teams he actually played for.
How many of them can you name? I have them all in front of me right now.
Gosh, I mean,
we already said the Hornets, so we'll give you that one.
Houston, Sixers, Magic.
Yep.
Did he play for the Celtics? I want to say Celtics.
I'm not seeing Celtics.
Give them to me quick.
So we already named Hornets, Sixers, Magic, and Rockets. Pistons and Wizards were the 2 teams he spent the most with. He had
Wizards, I should have known.
3 seasons with each of them. Also played for the Suns, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Pelicans, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, and 6 games with the Warriors.
I do remember him on the Bucks. I'm surprised I don't remember him on the Pistons.
It's funny. There's 4 teams that he never had to start with. He only played 6 games for the Warriors, but he had 1 start for them.
Hey, brought in for a reason. Was that the year where everybody was hurt for the Warriors?
That would have been. I'm just looking at totals
now
at the bottom. It was 2011, 2012.
Yeah. No, that would have been before all that. Jeez, he's been around a while. Either way, that's guys naming dudes talking about Ish Smith, former Wake Forest Demon Deacon. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There's only one thing left to do. Make some picks, and we're going to do just that next.
Hey, everyone. Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something that I always have to make sure as a motorcycle rider that I do is I always have to make sure I have an escape, always have an out. Just like we talk about with football, with a quarterback. What's your check down? What's your escape? How do I throw the ball away in case things go bad? What's your escape? And as a motorcycle rider, let's be honest, it's no different. You have to make sure that as a motorcycle rider, when you're driving down the road, that you have an escape in case a car veers in front of you, a deer runs out in the middle of the road. Always have a plan to get out of a bad situation, or plan or two to get out of those sticky situations. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers, it's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Shedeur Sanders, if he starts double-digit games this year, now all of a sudden you're developing an asset that can then be your backup quarterback, that could be your pace car for your rookie quarterback that you draft next year, or that you can flip in the offseason. Deshaun Watson, there's nothing he can do to help move your franchise forward.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
Summer in Raleigh just got hotter. Tim McGraw, the Pawn Shop Guitar Tour. Get lost in the songs you love to sing. With special guests, 49 Winchester. Get ready for a summer show you don't want to miss. Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Friday, August 7th. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, everybody. Before we get to making picks, I want you to know that well, first of all, enjoy some Michael McDonald. I can't just breeze through this. But the toothpaste is likely escaping the tube as we speak. Pete Nakos of On3 has reported Vanderbilt center and former North Carolina center Jalen Washington has been granted an injunction against the NCAA to play the 2026-2027 college basketball season per court docs.
Has any player that's filed for these lawsuits or injunctions lost? It feels like every single one has been granted the extra year.
Well, I believe this is the first of the people that exhausted their 4 years of eligibility only to have the rule changed to 5 years of eligibility. They are now all suing for their 5th year. I believe this is the first domino to fall for the 5th year rule now applying retroactively to players from last year. Once this precedent is set, I don't know how you don't let all of the others, which means Darian Williams, Van Allen Lubin, some of these guys that have filed similar lawsuits and asked for similar injunctions in other states, I assume they're going to be allowed to play. And it is going to be pure chaos because you're going to have an entire class of players, like an entire recruiting class, an entire draft class of players suddenly eligible to play college basketball again. And teams will have already filled out their rosters. They'll have already spent their rev share and NIL, and they may have to now kind of unceremoniously boot some players to make some space. Because, like, Jalen Washington is, like, he's legit big. Like, he's played at UNC. He's played at Vanderbilt. He's been productive, and you're not going to choose a project youngster over somebody like Jalen Washington. So and the hundreds of others that are sure to be following. So, like I said, I think the toothpaste is escaping the tube. I don't know what you do. The NCAA can't just let you have 20 people on the roster this year. They're going to end up messing over some guys that are on rosters right now and think they're good. They're going to be replaced by some of these guys coming back. I hope it doesn't happen that way, but I don't see a way that it doesn't. That is, I would say, kind of harrowing. By the way, Joe Tipton, of On3 as well, has already reported additional players that have been granted a temporary injunction. Chendall Weaver, who played at Texas, Jason Edwards, who played at Providence, A.J. Storr, who has played at Ole Miss last year, but Storr has played everywhere. He's played for like 1,000 teams in the last 10 years.
Played for Kansas.
But also like he played for 4 high schools in 4 years.
UConn maybe too.
And I want to say he'll be going into his 5th or 6th year of college basketball for his 5th or 6th different team. B.J. Edwards, who was at SMU, Doug McDaniels, who was at Memphis, they've now been granted temporary injunctions, according to Joe Tipton. And according to Joe Tipton, players have the option to enter the transfer portal if they haven't done so already. It is going to get real weird in college basketball.
They're all these players that are filing. So that means we're going to get another year of maybe not for NC State, but Darian Williams,
yes,
Van Allen Lubin,
Trey Holloman.
Apparently, Darian Williams has already been working out with Texas Tech like a bunch.
Why not?
You can do whatever you want.
It is insane, but yeah, I would say that was one of the last defenses against that happening, and now the injunctions are coming through. So buckle up, everybody. It's going to get. We got a longer list. The field of 68. Let's see here. Jalen Johnson from Radford, Zachary Davis from Memphis. Carson Newman's Jack Browder, Oakland's Brody, like everybody is going to have an option. N.J. Benson from DePaul, I don't know who these people are, but they're going to have an extra year of eligibility, and they're going to take that roster spot from someone, and it is going to get ugly. But I don't want to end the show on that. I don't want to end the week on that. I want to end it with something more upbeat and exciting. So, Max, please set it up so we can make some picks.
Well, we'll have to delve through some perhaps less orthodox options to pick from.
Not a lot going on this weekend?
Not exceedingly. Look, we got the Hall of Fame game next week, so
you're darn right.
Then we'll start getting some football back. Then
make your picks on that, because we won't have another making our picks. We only do that on Fridays.
Obviously, the Panthers are going to win. Bryce Young's going to throw for 600 yards.
Bryce Young's going to be in a hoodie.
Snap. Yeah, which he will not play a snap.
Haynes King, light him up.
Would love to see him. He might run for 100 yards though. All right, well, let's go. We've talked about this a little bit over the course of this show. Let's start with the Rocket Classic up there in Detroit, the PGA schedule. They're midway through the second round right now. Wake Forest alum Cameron Young tied for the lead at 10 under par. We mentioned Ricky Fowler. He's one shot off the lead at 9 under. He got taken the Rocket Classic this weekend in Detroit.
Well, I don't like that Ryan Gerard fell off. That's not fun. He was tied for first last we checked up. Now he's tied for 6th, it looks like. Here, who do I like on this leaderboard? I like Xander Schauffele, who's lurking. That's not exactly a hidden pick. I like Ricky as a dude. He just seems like he's got his head on straight. So I like Ricky Fowler. However, it's hard to pick him to close out a tournament when it's just been so long since he's been that guy. Patrick Cantlay is going to be the easy money. Cameron Young's going to be the easy money. I'd much rather have Cam Young win next week at Sedgefield for the Wyndham. Go back-to-back there, so maybe he'll keep something in his bag of tricks. How about this? I'll go Michael Kim. Social media star.
He just shot a 59, last week?
He's feeling it. Social media star, seems like a nice guy. Also 8 under par, tied for 6th at the moment. So, I feel like that's not super chalky, a little outside the favorites list, and he could easily make it happen.
All right, we'll go over now to the baseball diamond, where I'm not going to have you pick a game, but I'm going to ask you where Tariq Skubal will be playing next. MLB trade deadline is on Monday night. If you'd like, I can give you the odds, the teams that are favored to trade for Mr. Skubal's services.
I read an article from Jeff Passan earlier, so I know what he says. So I'm probably going to co-op that. But you can go ahead and give me the odds.
The Dodgers are the favorite. They're basically even odds, minus 105 is what I'm reading here. This is on CBS Sports via DraftKings. Next team is the Brewers at plus 290, Cubs plus 600, Braves plus 700, Rays plus 1,000. Staying with the Tigers, also plus 1,000. Yankees plus 1,200. And then, oddly enough, it says any other team plus 1,900. Then the Phillies plus 2,200, and then the Mariners plus 3,000. So I don't know how those teams have worse odds than the field, but there you go.
Give me the Braves. The Braves, I think they're feeling like they might have something this year. And give me the Braves. I want a little bit of plus money there. I hate that it's the Dodgers. My choice would be the Tigers, but I'm going with the Braves. I just think that division's up for grabs. They're leading it by a bunch, and they do tend to go all in when they go all in, that team. So, give me the Braves.
I think it'll be the Dodgers, which is like kind of lame, but as long as he doesn't go to the Yankees, it's good by me. We don't need him in the AL East.
Because you're the Sox
Red
fan.
Sox.
Yeah.
We're on fire right now. They don't need to trade for pitching, though. The Red Sox need to trade for some bats.
I mean, if the Dodgers have, because Ohtani's not pitching right now, right? Because he's got something going on. Snell is obviously out for a long time. Glasnow is out for a long time. If they can just have great pitchers, lose great pitchers, and replace them with great pitchers, what are we doing here? What is the point?
All right, we'll head over to the pitch now. Charlotte FC has a game this weekend. They just returned. I believe it will be at least, he may not see the field, but it will be the first game with the team for a big acquisition in Alan St. Maximin, the winger, formerly of Newcastle, among a couple other European stops. So could be exciting if he makes his debut. Charlotte FC's playing at Chicago Fire tomorrow night at 8:30. You got Charlotte FC going to go on the road and get the win. Chicago Fire minus 200 on the three-way money line. Charlotte FC plus 400 and draw plus 360.
I know very little about the MLS. I do know Chicago is above Charlotte FC in the rank, in the standings.
Just 1 point ahead.
So this could be all right. Never mind. It's on the line. They're going to go out there and they're gonna chase them down. Give me Charlotte FC.
They've had some exciting matchups in the past with Chicago Fire. I remember one that I wasn't able to watch because I think I was at an NC State football game. Charlotte FC came back from a deficit, scored 3 goals in the second half, and came back to win. That was a couple of years ago. So obviously very different players now. I hope St. Maximin makes his debut and he can get out there on the field, but I think his visa had just been cleared or whatever process they needed. So not sure if we'll see him, but hopefully we will. We'll go over to the basketball court now, where tonight the Indiana Fever, featuring Caitlin Clark, are on the road at the Portland Fire. The Fever has set an NBA record by scoring 100 points in their 4th straight game, in their last game, so they would look to extend that record tonight if they're able to score 100. Who's going to win this game, and will the Fever continue their record of high-scoring games?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to score 100 just because that seems ridiculous. But the Fever win.
How is it ridiculous? They scored 123 2 games ago.
It just if they're breaking records for doing it a bunch of times, they're not just going to do it every game forever. So it's got to stop at some point, right? I did watch the WNBA All-Star game, and Caitlin Clark did pull up for logo threes on 3 of the first 6 possessions and hit them all. It seemed very much like she was making a statement, and then since the All-Star game, she's been making a statement as well. Yeah, I think she's going to continue to stay hot. She'll score a bunch of points, and they'll win the game.
Not an exceptional number of other events to pick from, so I'll just ask you kind of more of an abstract one.
Let's do it.
Are the Carolina Hurricanes going to do something this weekend? Are they going to sign Alexander Nikishin? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to make some kind of other off-the-board move? Or will it be another quiet weekend in the offseason for the Canes?
I've pivoted. For a long time, I thought it was just a matter of time, and they might as well do it now. But I thought that was when I was leaning towards they were likely trading Alexander Nikishin. Now that it seems like most of the movement elsewhere in the NHL has happened, not saying there won't still be moves, but for the most part, the bulk of the dominoes have fallen. I think it's probably going to end up with some kind of a bridge deal with the Canes, and there's no real reason to do that now. I think both of them can play a game of chicken where they don't compromise at all for a while, because there's no reason to do it, right? There's no reason to compromise. So I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. I would expect it in time for players to report and everything, but not yet, which is not a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. So I guess my as far as making picks would go, when we get here next week about this time, I bet you could ask me this very same question, and I think you might get a very same answer.
Again, not many other games, but in terms of major professional, but a couple of local professional teams are actually in action tonight. Durham Bulls hosting the Gwinnett Stripers at the DBAP, and the NC Courage are hosting the Orlando Pride at Wake Med Soccer Park. Are the local squads going to get it done tonight?
I always pick the local squads, but let me check some standings here. The NC Courage are, I don't like having to scroll
minus
this far.
105 on the money line.
They are
that informs your decision
in the
at all.
NWSL. And who are they playing?
Orlando Pride, or 2 points.
Orlando Pride's not
2 points
not
ahead of them.
a ton better. I'm
Courage are pretty heavy favorites. Minus 105. Pride are plus 255, and the draw is plus 240.
Well, then in that case, I'm obviously going to walk right into what the odds makers want me to do, and I'm taking the North Carolina Courage. Make it happen. So Courage and Bulls, of course. Bulls are going to win.
Bulls have been a weird season. In minor league, they split the first and second half. They were like last place, quite bad in the first half, and then just have come out red hot in the second half, and they're tied for first. And they were solo first. They've actually dropped a couple of these last couple games, but come on, Durham. Let's close out the second half and make the whatever they call the cup, the playoffs. I don't know.
The International League Cup, whatever it is. But either way, Bulls are going to win. As always, local teams are going to ride. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running these last few days. We have a weekend here. It's the last weekend before the Hall of Fame game for the Panthers. So we will have NFL football, kind of, next week to talk about. So enjoy the weekend. We'll see you on Monday. And on the way out, enjoy some Michael McDonald.
The Adam Gold Show.
Don't buy